Welcome to day 3 of Tactical Agency Strategies. All right, Rajesh, good to see you. Joe, nice to have you. Mark, Chris, Lacey, David Arnold, Grant Marsden, good to have you. Avery, awesome to see you here. Kevin Randall, nice to have you. A bunch of people coming on. We're live on Facebook. That's really good. It's always good to see that we're live on Facebook. Awesome. Okay. So I'm just going to pin myself here. All right. Welcome to day 3. This is day number 3 of basically what we've called or talked about as tactical agency strategies. A lot of ground that we've covered in the last 2 days. A ton of material, lots of training, lots of tactical things, specific scripting and structure, all that sort of stuff that we basically looked at ways of engaging. We looked at ways of crafting an offer to go to the market. We looked at generating leads. We looked at some tactical things in terms of strategy to understand how businesses operate, how we overlay a framework for ourselves. We covered an enormous amount of ground in the last couple of days. And so today, I'm going to try and put this into a little bit of perspective. I'm going to share a couple more tactical things that you can do. One of the things that I love is this concept of a no-brainer offer. So as we are out in the world sharing what we do in terms of our product or our service, the whole concept is we want to make it really easy for people to kind of say yes to what it is we have to offer. That's the intention that we want to have. We want to make it super easy so that it's in and say, look, this is exactly what I'm looking for. We understand that this will work for us. We need to do this. There is no question. We just need to make that decision and we need to make that a reality. That's the key, or that's the thing that we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to a place where this is natural stepping in to saying yes to what it is that you have to offer. And here's the thing, to actually be able to make the no-brainer offer, it's more about you than the actual client. It's your confidence, it's your ability to understand and communicate, it's your ability to see the result through, that you have this belief that you can actually do what it is that you say that you're promising to the client. So that first thing, if you don't have ownership of that idea, if you don't own your price, if you don't own the certainty that, whatever we do by hell or high water, we're going to make this work for a client. If you don't have that in you, then the client is just going to say no. They're going to pick that up in you. They're going to pick up the lack of confidence. They're going to pick up the lack of clarity. They're going to pick the uncertainty up from you, and they're going to say no, which is what they should do. They should say no to you because I don't believe you, right? I don't think you can do this, and I don't believe you because you're telling me that you can't do this and you don't believe this in yourself. So this is a really interesting mindset thing, or a mind shift that we've got to make. Now, I'm just going to preface what I've just shared with you. Does every campaign that I work on win out of the gate? And my answer to that question is no. Not a single campaign. In fact, I could probably count on my hand in 33 years of marketing and business development, not a single campaign and strategy right out of the gate has crushed it for any client, ever. It's all a matter of working out. Have we gotten results? Yes. Have we gotten positive ROIs? Yes. Did we crush it out of the gate first up? No. I talk to a lot of people in our advertising world, in our online world, and I had a conversation. I'm not going to name some names, but these are some very big players. We're talking people who manage hundreds of millions of dollars in Facebook ad spend, right? They're running, can you imagine you're managing an ad spend of about $100 million a month, right? $100 million in Facebook ad spend a month, right? That's how much money you're managing, right? So that's a pretty big ad account right there. Right? Now, here's the thing. Speaking to the person who manages and the team that manages a $100 million, $1 million ad budget, $100 million ad budget per month, right? 1.2 billion in Facebook ads a year. Speaking to that person, here's what came across. they said 80%, they can account probably 70% of the ads that they run fail, right? 70 to 80% of the ad campaigns that they run fail. Of the hundreds of millions of dollars in ads that they run, the ads fail, right? It's only 30% that actually make up for the results that they send out to the market. So understand, this is a hang-up thing. The reason I'm sharing this idea and leading into the concept of the no-brainer, right, is we have more problems with the offer, we have more problems with the price, we have more problems with the deliverables based around our confidence than the client has. The client, when a client has decided to sit down with you, they've decided to sit down with you, right? When the client's done that, they're already halfway to buying. They're already halfway to buying. And in your initial conversations, depending on how conversations go, when you talk about you're going to do a plan, or you're going to do a strategy session, or you're going to do discovery, you're going to provide them with a proposal, right? They're pretty much made 80% of their decision before they've reached the proposal. 80% on whether or not they go with you is already done before you pitch, right? At the time of your pitch, you're 80% there. That last 20%, which is your presentation to the client to demonstrate you know what you're doing, in that 20%, in that presentation, is where you either help the client to know that this is the right decision and they're going to buy, so you actually walk them through that process, or you're going to put doubt in their mind and you're going to put questions in their mind, right? And you can put the objections in their mind that say, no, you're not the person for us. They're not going to do that. You're going to do that. If you've done everything up front correctly, right, then you should be sitting down with somebody who's very interested in what you have to offer, is very serious about the outcome for what they're trying to do with you, and they're really trying to make a judgment call on whether or not they like you as a person. They believe that this is the strategy for them based on your demonstration of what you're going to share with them, and that that they trust that you can deliver the results, that you're going to be around. That's really essentially what you have to be answering in this process. That's really what you have to be answering in this process, right? Without that know, like, and trust, right? It doesn't matter what you do. You can be the best company in the world at doing this, the best results drivers in the world. But if they don't like you, they're not going to buy, right? And this is the thing. The number one reason why most people don't buy is because they're not confident enough in you, in your confidence to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. That's why they pass, all right? That's why they pass. That's number one. Number two is they're not very clear about their outcome. They're not attached to why they need to do this and why they need to do this now. That's the second reason why they don't buy. They're not attached. They're not very clear. They're not attached to committing to this is what we really need to do, because otherwise there are alternative considerations. It's the like, well, instead of this, what else could we be doing? Right? That's the thing that we've got to deal with. So it's really hard to deliver a no-brainer offer if you don't eliminate all the objections, and it doesn't come down to price, and it doesn't come down to guarantees, and it doesn't come down to any of that. It's making sure that in their mind you've answered all their questions, that this is the right decision to make, and that is to hire you. So I'm going to walk you through the structure. A lot of people think, oh, we're going to craft the offer. I'm going to show you how you can use numbers and conversions. I'm going to share a really cool tool that anybody can get their hands on. You don't actually have to use these tools. There are some free tools out there, but I'm just going to demonstrate the example where you can use the power of demonstration to craft a no-brainer offer. So there's certain things that you can do that you can share with a client to demonstrate that, whatever they put in, this is what they get out, ROI. ROI is a really big thing. How do you make that tangible? Like in SEO, in search, a lot of people in SEO who sell SEO services, one of the challenges that people have is that they can't make SEO tangible. The only tangibility is ranking, like where you rank, how many backlinks that you've got, how many sites are following you, right? There are numbers, there are certain KPIs or data points that can point to a tangibility. But in terms of sales or conversions, a lot of SEO people struggle to say this is why organic traffic is so important, right? But here's the cool thing about SEO: you can track it. But the reason why people can't track SEO is because the Google Analytics isn't set up correctly. You can set up Google Analytics to look at traffic from where the traffic comes from all the way through to purchase on Google Analytics. So right, that a person's looked at this keyword, come to that particular page, taken the next step to go to the contact us or set an appointment, or taken the next step to actually buy now. All the way through, you can make SEO very tangible. In fact, some of the SEO agencies that I work with in Consulting Champions, this is what we teach them to do. We teach them how to take an intangible idea, make it very, very tangible to the client. The client goes, wow, why aren't we doing this? We need to do this now, right? So they can see the result. And this is the thing. The most tangible result that you can deliver is a paying customer, right? That they see a physical financial gain in the bank account. That's from a pragmatic point of view, that they can go, we did this with you. This is where they came from. We can track all the way through, and this is where they ended up. And we spent this much money with you, and we made this much money, right? So that's the game. If we're in the digital marketing space, what we want to do is we want to attach to real outcomes, real results, right? And we can attach everything. In our marketing, you can attach real results. AdWords, you can attach real results. Facebook ads, any form of advertising, you can actually measure online, right? That's why what we do is way more powerful than running ads in newspapers and television, because we can track and measure everything. And this is something that you need to help your client understand. For the first time, we are able to physically see every engagement, every behavioral point based on how they interact with you online. There's no other advertising that does that. You can't do that on a radio ad unless you use a very specific number that people call, or you give them a very specific place to go that you can track, right? You've got to put some tracking indicators in your advertising. And most ad agencies don't want to track. What they want to track is eyeballs. They want to track consumption. They want to track impressions. They want to track, oh, look at that, we're going to put you in front of. That's what newspapers do. Newspapers will sit there and say, yep, we've got a subscription base of 450,000 people. You put an ad in here, 450,000, you take a full page ad, 450,000 people are going to be scanning this paper every single day looking at your ad. So if you pay by 12 pages, that's 460,000 12 times they're going to see your ad. You put your ad in the first open fold, right? You're pretty much guaranteed that every eyeball, every subscriber is going to see that ad in the newspaper, right? So they're basing it on impression, not on the actual metrics and result, right? Unless you put a coupon code or improve your ability to market or communicate. So one of the things that we can do in our no-brainer offer is we can demonstrate that we can track everything. We can actually record every phone call from every inquiry. We can actually record every single physical transaction point, right? We can track once a person gets into somebody's calendar, we can ask the question, right? Well, they booked an appointment, did they show or didn't they show? If they did show, did they buy or didn't they buy, right? You can sit down with a client and say, hey, we've got all the appointments. You can see all the people who made the appointments. Let's go through the names. Let's figure this out, right? This makes this incredibly tangible. So there are a couple of things I'm going to be covering today, and I'm kind of going to share something as a bonus with you. And I'm kind of also through a little bit later on, I'm going to show you and get some help to how to speed this thing up, right? I'm going to show you how you can speed the process up of client acquisition generation, right? So if you hang with me today, we're going to be covering a lot of ground. We're going to be covering that whole concept of the mindset of eliminating the roadblocks to actually making a decision to buy. We're going to cover, so we're going to eliminate key objections. Then I'm going to talk to you about how do you use numbers to do one of two things. One, to demonstrate a no-brainer return on investment based on a campaign. Number two, to actually anchor the price of how much they would pay to acquire. So you can use price anchoring so that when you actually share your price point, that it's kind of like, oh, well, it's a no-brainer, right? It's using their, and this is the thing, we're using their figures, not your figures. If you are the one that comes up and you're using your figures, the client or the prospect is never going to believe you. If you use their numbers as part of this process, we talked about those numbers yesterday, but I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to use those numbers today. If you use their numbers, right, to demonstrate what you have to offer, then you're going to have a much easier time. Two things are going to happen. One, the client sees that you're smarter than the average bear, right? You're smarter because you're actually talking real things that are real relevant to that business. That's number one. Number two, that it is indisputable when you're dealing with their numbers and not your numbers, right? So talking is silver, but showing is gold. And when you show their numbers, when they give you their numbers and they show their numbers, then it's their numbers. It's not you telling them, they're telling you. And when they're telling you, right, it's very hard to negate what they say. so they will take ownership of that. It makes it really easy for them to go, no brainer, I got to buy this, right? I'm going to show you 3 examples of simple closes that you can use using the numbers, right? Using numbers. This is very cool, right? Then what I'm going to do is we're going to unpack levels of client engagement, lead generation. I'm going to go through the different levels and areas. The whole idea, and if you've been downloading the notes, if you're somewhere in the Facebook group here, but if you've registered, you've already got the workbooks. You can use the workbooks to do this. But through this process, what I'm going to walk you through are the different levels of client acquisition. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on some key areas of client acquisition just to show you where the opportunity, where the money is, right? Where the big money is, where the big opportunities are, and what you've got to do to actually go and generate your opportunities out of those lead levels. Then I'll talk about a cool bonus that I'm going to give everybody. You don't know this. My team doesn't even know this. Is going to get really upset with me when I say this. But I'm going to provide with you something a little extra today. I want to load up a little bit more value from the days that we've spent together, the time we've spent together. And then we're going to have a cool day, right? And so a little bit through this presentation, I'm going to share with you that if you are interested in speeding the process up, I'm going to show you how to speed this up. It's not for everybody, but for those, if you're here and you've been hanging with me for the last 3 days, you're in the right place. This is for you. All right. So just looking at who we've got here, we've got a whole bunch of people. Bill Dye, good to see you here. I just want to view the gallery so I can acknowledge Dano Falk, good to see you. Don Ferguson, I feel like we've only just saw each other this morning, Don. Johnny Odell, good to see you. Chris, Mark, Edward. Edward, you're here twice. Owen Barker, as always. Bill Dyer, Howard Tayano, good to have you here. Daniel Gow, also awesome to have you here. David Arnold, who else we've got here? We've got Sheila and Mo Adam. Good to have you here, Mo. So Grant Marsden, awesome to have you here. So let's get back into a little bit of rock and roll here in the marketplace. So I'm going to share my screen. Christine, good to see you here, Christine. Nice to see some of the faces here. iPhone, whoever iPhone is, how are you? That's a really big branded player right there, iPhone. Howard Tiano is here twice. I don't know how you're here twice, dude. That's pretty cool. Avery, good to have you here. All right. So let me just go back to page 1 because we've got a whole bunch of faces here. So let's get into sharing our screen, or sharing my screen. And let's get into the no-brainer offer. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way so I can't see it. All right, welcome to day 3. Day 3, how do we create and craft the no-brainer offer? That's essentially what we're going to be talking about here. So, like I said, I look at this and this is more about us as people rather than the physical offer that we make. Most people think it's about the offer that we make. It's really about the positioning and the confidence and the clarity that we have to be able to deliver a result to a client. If we have, by the way, that is pretty much 90% of the game. If we have every confidence we can get the result, and if we can convey that confidence, the client is going to pick up on that and go, we need to do this, right? If we can't do that, if we have one single tiny doubt in our mind, it ain't going to work, right? So here's the thing you've got to be taking into consideration. 80% of the sale is done before you even get to the presentation. That's where you want to be. The presentation is a formality. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the right thing. Away we go. We need to eliminate some objections. If we eliminate these 7 objections before we do the presentation, you've got a 95 to 100% chance of closing the deal on the spot, every deal. If you actually nail these 7 objections before you do your presentation, if you eliminate, I'm going to show you how to eliminate them. We're going to walk you through this process, right? So you need to eliminate all of them. If you eliminate all of them, right, and you ask the right questions in the way that I'm going to ask them and share with you, you've got a sale. It's really hard for a client to say no if you've eliminated and you've actually asked them to commit, right? Because at the end of the day, if we don't eliminate these objections and these objections end up in their mind where they don't ask the question. So if some of these objections are in their head and they don't articulate these objections, then you're a dead person. You're not going to make the sale. If they verbalize some of these objections, then you have to justify why they're making investment. So that means you're going to have to sell right, rather than help. You're going to have to sell rather than help, right, for the objection. You don't want to be in a selling situation. You want to be in a helping situation, right? And so the next thing then, because then you've got to justify. If you have to justify anything, you are dead. They're out. They're already thinking about something else, right? There are a couple of nuance objections that I'll talk about that I haven't listed here, but I will talk about them anyway. I don't think that if you answer these 7 objections, then these other 2 nuances aren't going to show up. If you answer the 7 objections, these nuances aren't going to show up, right? And so here's the thing. You want to answer these objections on your disqualifying phone call, right? Before you do the strategy, before you do discovery, you want to eliminate these objections, and you're going to eliminate these objections twice. You're going to do it at your triage to see if they qualify. Then if they do qualify and they go through discovery, you're going to do it again at discovery, right? And then on the day of your presentation, when you deliver your solution or your plan to your client, you're going to check off the box to these objections so that everything's kosher, everything's right on the mark. Right. So this is how you pretty much guarantee yourself the ability to convert clients every time. This will raise your conversion rate through the roof if you get this. You're going to have to practice this. You're going to have to learn this. Right. This is not something that you're just going to go, great, I'm going to tick a box. By the way I learned this is I used to have a little cheat sheet in front of me, and I used to put those things, that cheat sheet right there. And this is what I used to say to the prospect, right, when I was learning this. I used to say, hey, look, we've got a lot of ground to cover. And just so I don't miss anything, do you mind if I just go through my notes here, ask some really key questions just to make sure that we cover all the bases here? Are you okay with that? And they go, sure, read away. And then I would actually read the questions straight to the client right up front, right? I would read the questions straight to the client right up front. And that way I didn't miss it. Eventually I didn't have to think about it. I ingrained it, right? So this is, you can get this out of the gate. If you follow the process I'm sharing with you, this will be the easiest way for you to close sales, because if you get this part right, it's very unlikely, right? It's very unlikely that the client will actually move away from you. It's very unlikely. The only way they're going to move away is they disqualify themselves before you get to the presentation. There is no point in getting to a presentation if you really haven't eliminated all these things up front, because all of these things are going to stop the client from buying. All of these things are going to stop the client from buying. And so there's no point in doing a presentation if you haven't handled this, because what you'll have to do if you haven't handled them there, you're going to have to handle them in the presentation. And that's not to say that you're not going to have elements of these in the presentations. I'm not telling you that, if you do these right up front, that they'll never appear in your presentation. They will, but you can always clarify, because you've always got an anchor point to go back to and say, well, based on what we said before, can you clarify the question around that? I go, oh, no, you're right. I don't have an objection there. I don't have a question. And the other thing, the way that you need to look at objections is objections are just questions. They're clarifying questions. And you can't move on. You cannot take the next step with anybody without going through the clarification process. So to be able to craft the no-brainer offer, we've got to handle these objections. We've got to handle the money objection. We've got to handle the I need to think about it objection. We need to handle the I need to talk to my partner, my boss, my accountant, my cousin, my cat. That should be cousin, that's not incorrectly. Will this work for me? You're going to answer that objection, right? Do I need to do this now? Like, should I be doing this now or later? Should I be doing this or something else instead? Not doping. Should I be doing, this or something else instead? Should I be doing this or something else instead, right? That's what I need to be thinking about. And then how do I know that you can deliver, right? How do I know that you can deliver what you say you deliver? How do I know? Am I going to like you? Do I trust you, right? These are the objections. These are the 7 objections that you must answer before you go into the presentation. So the money bit, right? The money bit, it's actually a little bit annoying here to see me spell those things incorrectly. I think that's how you spell cousins. And I think we're just going to go and do that. So whilst we're in the middle of changing, that's better. All right, so it was just weird looking at those misspellings. So we've got to answer all these questions. We've got to answer the money. Then we need to think about it. Do I need to talk to my partner, my boss, my accountant, my cousin, my cat? Will this work for me? Do I need to do this right now, or should I do something later? How do I know that you can actually deliver on what you say you can deliver, right? How do I know that? I need to answer those, right? So let me go through each of these objections. Let me handle how you handle the money. In your triage, when you're talking to a client for the first time, when you have the initial appointment, right? When somebody's saying, hey, I'm interested in having a bit of a chat, right? You want to kind of get a feel for where they're at. So in the chat, I want to clarify a couple of things. I want to say, hey, I'm on a bit of a time frame here. I've got about 10 minutes and I've got a whole series of questions that I've got to ask you to be able to help you. Are you okay with that? I go, yep, I'm okay with that. Great. So there are two things that we need to establish right now. We need to establish very clearly the outcomes that you want to achieve. And we also establish on whether or not we can help you. Do you agree? Yes or no? And they're going to go, yes, I do agree. And then you're going to go, great. So what do you want to do? Why this, right? Why this? Why me? Why now? Why have you come to this phone call? Why did you agree to this phone call, right? Well, we need help with Facebook ads. Great. So why Facebook? Well, we know Facebook ads is where the people are at in the marketplace. Great. So is there anything else that you think you should be doing other than Facebook? No, Facebook is what we need to do. That's what we're talking to you about, right? Is this something you need to do now to generate leads from Facebook, or something you're considering for later down the track as part of the strategy? Oh no, we need to do this now. Like, this is really important to us. We know that's where the market is. We've tried it before, hasn't necessarily worked the way we want it to work, right? Well, great. So here's what I want to do. I want to be super clear, and this is what you're saying to the client. I want to super clear that we have an objective, right? An outcome you're looking for. We want to make sure that we understand why those outcomes are very important. And then from there, we want to kind of make sure that if there are roadblocks, that we can actually bridge the gap, put a plan in place that's actually going to eliminate the roadblocks and bridge the gap from where you are now to actually hitting that outcome. Would that be fair enough? Right? And they go, yeah. And say, well, this is how we work together. Normally we have a framework and we have a process and a proven path to achieve these outcomes. How we work together essentially is most clients invest between $2,000 and $5,000 a month for our management services to actually develop the plan, the strategy, manage the account, and hit those results. Can you handle that type of investment? Money right up front, right? Can you handle that type of investment right up front? And they go, yeah, that sounds fair, right? Okay. Or if they say, well, that's a little bit too much, then you go, okay, great. So what did you have in mind? What were you thinking, right? What budget did you have? You have to put the question back to them, because you've got to eliminate the money fear for them, right? How much they're going to invest, right? And I'll show you another way or another process to ask the same question. So when people work with us, the investment in our services generally start between $3,000 and $5,000. Are you in a position, or are you able to allocate a budget to handle that for this project? Yes or no, right? And they go, yep, we can handle that. Or wow, that's a little bit more than I thought that's a little bit expensive, right? So better to know this right up front. And if it's too expensive, ask the question, what did you have in mind? What were your expectations, right? Think about it, right? If you said your outcome is we want to add another 30 or 40 grand to our revenue per month, and you think $3,000 a month is too expensive, let me ask you the question, to invest 3,000 to make 10x, is that a good investment? So yeah. Okay, so my question is, would you be able to handle, can you handle, or would you handle the investment to make that outcome? Yes or no? If I don't get a yes or no on the money, or if I don't get a no on the money, I can't handle it, they're out. I need a definitive yes on the money. So I want to let them right up front. So there's no, when we sit down and I do the presentation and I walk them through the money, right, that they're not sitting there going, oh man, that's more expensive than I thought it was, right? So we want to get the money right up front, out. Are you okay with that? Can you handle that investment? Many of our clients invest at this level. Can you handle that? Yes or no? And they go, yeah, I can handle that. Great, right? So the next thing is, when we talk to people, we understand that you're making a decision that's going to have a strategic impact on your business. And so with that, there are other stakeholders or other people in your business that also contribute to the decision-making, the financial decision-making on what direction the business takes. So do you have your husband or your wife that needs to sit on the presentation, a partner, a boss, a CEO, right? I don't say accountant. Anybody who needs to bring their accountant into this type of deal, you're talking to the wrong person, right? Anybody has, oh, I'm going to go, it's my company, but I'm going to sit down with my accountant and see if we can afford to do this. Well, if you don't know that you can afford to do this, you're not the right person. You need to move on, right? I'm just using the word accountant and my cousin and my cat as a joke, right? But generally it's going to be partner, right? Partner or husband and wife, partner or husband and wife, or partners, right? So we need to talk, because I know that, and you know here, if I was to ask this question, how many people here have been in a sales situation where the person, they think they're talking to the decision maker, and the person sits at the end of that and says, you know what, I've got to take this to my boss, or I've got to take this to my partner, I've got to show them or talk to them? Just type 1 in the chat for those people who've had that experience. Just type 1 in the chat. How many people have had the experience where you sat down in the presentation with somebody, they're not going to make the decision on the spot. They have to go and defer to a third party, somebody else. Everybody here, 1 by 1, Don, David, I'm putting my hand up. I'd put a 1 in there, right? So most people have had that experience in the marketplace. Most people have had that outcome and that experience, right? So here's the thing. If there's no point in presenting, right? There's no point in sharing how you're going to help people if the person who's not writing the check, or who's writing the check, isn't in the room, right? Mark says, I'm dealing with this now. Yeah, right? The only time, and so by the way, some marketing directors have a budget that they can sign off on. And so I'll ask the question, what kind of budget can you sign off on? What are you able to sign off on? And some people will sit there and will say, I can sign off on $1 million, right? I've sat down with marketing directors and say, yeah, my sign-off rate, I've got a $3 million budget. I can use that at my discretion anytime I want. So I can allocate funds to whatever things we need necessary, right? Right? So this is the thing. You need to understand that unless all the stakeholders are there, there's no point in doing that, right? We find that if we don't give the opportunity for your partners or your husband or wife to be in the room, then we need to give them the opportunity to be able to ask their questions so they have a clarity around why this is important and why this is going to be something that you want to be doing. So you understand that we must have all those people in the room. Otherwise, there's no point in doing a presentation, because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to present to you. You're going to get excited. Then you're going to take my information. Then you have to go and present to them at some point. So you've got to remember everything I've told you. And the only thing they can base the relationship on is how much it's going to cost. Because the first question I ask is, how much is it going to cost? And should we be spending this money on something else? Because think about it, put yourself in the same situation. Right? Your business partner does a meeting with somebody where now you've got to spend 20, 30, 50, 100 grand, right? And so they go, great, I've got to talk to my business partner. Great. So my business partner comes to me and says, hey, John, I'm thinking about a consideration of spending $100,000 on this Facebook advertising marketing campaign. And I'm looking at something 100 grand. So I'm going to start asking some questions, right? First of all, why Facebook, right? Why aren't we spending $100,000? Why don't we spend 50 on AdWords and 50 on Facebook? Why are we putting 100 grand down? My next thing is there anything other than this that we should be spending our money on that might give us a better impact? Boom, I've just opened up a question in that person's mind to go, I haven't thought about that. Right now I'm talking about Facebook, right? So if I've got no connection, no relationship, and I haven't been able to answer questions, I'm relying on my partner and a proposal that has all the money on the back end, like the last page is where the price is on the proposal, right? How many people here, just very quickly, so I know, I'm just going to communicate here. How many people put the price of their offer on the last page of their proposal or the last slide in their presentation? Just type 2 if you put the price on the last page or your offer on the last page of your presentation. Just type 2. Who does that? Who puts the price on the last, right at the end, right? Here it is. By the way, last page, here's all the pricing structure. Who does that, right? There's got to be more people than 3 people that do that, right? Who puts so you've done the presentation, you've got a pitch, and generally it's the second last or last slide, right? Or you have a page that says, great, here's your investment, the whole thing, okay? That's better. We've got a few people who do put the price on last thing. So if you're putting the price at the end, guess what happens? You've spent all this time, right? Mark says I put on the first page as I advised, yeah. So you've spent all that time putting together a presentation, putting all the information, but what the person's going to do, the partner is going to flip on the pages and go straight to the last page. They don't see all the value, all the process, all the plan, whatever. They just see how much is it going to cost. It's the first thing they're going to look at. It's the first thing that you would look at. It is the first thing that I would look at. We look at the price. And so now we're going to make a judgment call. I don't know who you are. I'm going to say, is this expensive or is this cheap? Is it, I don't know, right? I'm going to make a judgment call on money, right? So I don't know. I have no value judgment. So this is a disservice to you. This is a disservice to them because they haven't had the opportunity to understand why they need to make that investment, and they haven't had the opportunity as to ask questions as their partner has. And by the way, symbiosis with partnerships are never fantastic, and I'll explain why in a second as I take a sip of water. But here's the thing. I've run many events around the world, and we have at one time there were we'd have about 400 physical therapists in a room. Right now, out of that 400 physical therapists, there are probably about 100 decision makers. Out of the 100 decision makers, 50% of them don't have their partner, don't have their practice partner there, don't have their husband or wife there to make a consideration on a $50,000 deal. They don't have them there, right? So what happens is the partner who goes to the conference is the one that's motivated, because they want to learn, they want to grow, and they're excited, and they go, great, we can get the result. The person who stays back in the office isn't motivated, right? So oftentimes, you've got somebody who's really excited, really positive, and then you have a pragmatic partner say, ho, 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 getting a little bit excited there, buddy, right? Let's look at this a little bit more realistically. Do we need to be spending this money right now? So there's a disconnect between the relationship between the two partners. One is going to be good cop, the other one's going to be bad cop, right? Not overtly, not consciously, it will happen subconsciously, right? So this is why this objection, this is why I'm spending so much time on this objection. This is really one of the biggest things that will stop you from making a sale, is actually having the partner in the room, right? And if you're doing proposals, don't put the price on the last page. Put the price right up front on the first page, right up front, first paragraph. Thank you, Tony, for asking us to present a solution to hit this objective and outcome you're looking for. You said you want to add 40, 50,000, 10 new deals a month on your thing. Your investment for us to achieve that outcome is X amount of dollars, $5,000 a month plus $2,000 a month in ad spend. Now, let me explain the process we go through to maximize your opportunity to get that ROI and to help you get the results you're looking for. You put it right up front in the very first paragraph, right up front. Because that way, what happens is they get the proposal, they look at it, they go straight to the back page and they go, where's the price? Well, it's not there. Where's the price on the back page? So then they have to get the front page and they actually have to read your presentation, your proposal, right? So that's a different counterintuitive way, right, to do a proposal. Put the price in the first paragraph right up front. Your investment, so here's what you said you want to achieve. Your investment to do this is this. Here's the program. Let me walk you through exactly how we're going to do that to achieve that outcome, right? Price up front, not at the large. Just like handling the money objection. Money objection right up front, not in the past, right? So I need to talk to my partner is a really big thing, right? Will this work for me, right? This is about you, right? The confidence that you have in your product, your service, your category, right? Or your delivery. So you need to indoctrinate. If they haven't had enough context, you haven't seen enough information about you, case studies, testimonials, what you look like, your LinkedIn profile, your website. If they haven't had touch points or context points, you've actually got to give them the context points, right? And the way that you do that is by indoctrinating. Best way to indoctrinate is have an email in between appointments that says, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, these are the types of business we help, here's how we help you, and here's how we help some others. That's pretty much it. This is who we are, this is what we do, this is who we help, this is how we help you, right? This is what we've helped done with others, right? So you're indoctrinating, right? We have methodology and a framework. This is our methodology and this is our framework. So you help them understand that you understand what you're talking about. You can show them and demonstrate them. Before they get there, you've got to indoctrinate a client. Because what happens is so many sales are not made because that relationship, that rapport hasn't been built up. Nobody's going to spend $30,000, $40,000 or $100,000 on one phone call. You're going to have to make a few phone calls. You're going to have to jump a few hoops. You're going to have to build a few relationships, right? Now, you can do the one call close for a $500 a month, $1,000 a month, right? And if you're really, really good and you've filtered and qualified people well enough at the beginning, you could probably get them to spend $2,000 a month, right? But they're going to need some indoctrination. They're going to need some things. So why will this work for me? you have a proven path. You've got to demonstrate. Facebook, you know, somebody says, I've often had people say, oh, Facebook doesn't work for us. But I can go to Facebook, I can go to other companies that run Facebook ads successfully, and it works brilliantly for them in the very same market, right? I can find companies that get great results. I can get people in real estate saying, oh, Facebook doesn't work for real estate. To hell it doesn't. I know people who generate $6 to $7 million in sales a month out of Facebook ads in real estate, right? You know? So understand it may not work for you because you haven't understood the process or the strategy's wrong. We haven't got the right strategy, right? So will it work for me? We have a proven path to follow, right? We can demonstrate the point to do that, right? Should I be doing this or should I be doing something else instead, right? You want to ask the question, right? So why this? Why this thing? Why Facebook? So if you ask the question in the tree, I say, well, why are you choosing Facebook as a platform? Well, because that's where the market is, and we know that, you know, that's where the leads are. We haven't been able to figure this out. We've talked to a few people. We've had a few dismal results, right? But we know that we need to do this, right? So they're selling themselves on the thing that they're buying from you, right? Why this, right? Why should we be doing this instead of something else, right? And the other thing is, why now? So listen, you want to run some Facebook ads and you want to generate some leads. You want to get those leads now, or are you looking to allocate this, or you're looking 2 or 3 months down the track? Is this a now thing or a later thing? 10 out of 10 now, later, you know, 5 out of 10. Which is it? No, 10 out of 10, we need to do this right now, right? Now, there are 3 things to re-qualify what I've just shared with you in the objections, right? And I'll then talk about one, which is how do we eliminate the cool one that I need to think about it, which is there's only one, the biggest objections, the 2 biggest objections you're going to get is money and the I need to think about it. They're really the 2 biggest objections. The money and I need to think about it. I'm going to show you how to handle and eliminate both of them here, right? I'm going to show you how to handle them and eliminate both, right? When you do this. So the one thing that I want to do when I sit down and talk with people is, listen, I can't help everybody, right? We're not here to help everybody, but there are 3 caveats that I must place on whether or not we can work together. Number one, that you have a reputable business, that you can deliver on what you can deliver to the market, and you put value out in the marketplace. Do you do that? Yes, big tick. Yeah, we're really good at what we do. We deliver a great product, good service. You know, we're here for a long time. Great, big tick. Number 2, that you understand that you must invest in your marketing. What I mean by that is you understand that it takes an investment, that you are committed to investing in your marketing, putting dollars down. That's number 2. If you are, tick, right? And number 3 is that to make marketing work, that you have an optimization process to make sure that you actually do everything you can to serve the customers that we bring you. We agree on that, right? That you'll do everything humanly possible to treat the leads that we give you as people who are interested in buying. If you do that, would you do that? And they go, tick, yeah, great. I know that we can work together. I know they're going to do what they need to do to deliver a great job. I know that they're committed to financially investing because they get that they have to do that. I know that they're actually going to follow through on their end because they understand that they also are accountable to the investment. I want to make them accountable. So that's the other thing that I want to very clearly get right up front. So then there's the I need to think about it, right? And so oftentimes, and I'll ask this question 3 times. Once at the triage, once at the actual discovery, and once at the beginning of the sale. Once at the triage, once at the discovery, and once at the beginning of the sale. So how do I ask about the triage? Say, listen, at the end of this, when we go through the process, what I want to be very sure of is that you actually can say no. Are you able to say no to the offer, any offer that we make to you? And they go, yeah, I'm able to say no. Great. So alternatively, if you've got the right offer, you've got the right program, you can see that this is a fit, that you actually you would take the next step, and that is to let's work together and implement this and get those results to your business. Do you agree? They go, yeah, I agree. We'll make that decision. Awesome, right? So there's this one little trick, right? Normally I teach this to my champions, so I'm not going to share the trick here, but you need to anchor that decision. So the way that you do this, right, without me showing you the trick, right, is that you're going to ask the same question a second time in discovery, right? So the second time, hey, remember yesterday we talked about the fact that, you know, you can say no. I just want to be super clear that tomorrow when we do, or the next day when we come to you with a plan, that I just want to ask you permission that you're okay, that you are able to actually say no to this plan at the end of our presentation. Are you okay to do that? I'll go, yep, I'm okay to do that. Great. So alternatively, if we've got the right plan, then we'll look at working together. Yes. They go, yeah, we've got the right plan, we're going to work together. Awesome. The only reason you're asking this question in their mind, they're going, yeah, I don't need to think about it. We're going to go. If I've got the right plan, we're going to make a decision. If I haven't got the right plan, then I've got questions, right? So I'm trying to eliminate the I need, because oftentimes, and I'll go right up front sometimes. And listen, a lot of people, they sit there and they need to think about things, right? And at the end of the day, if you need to think about it, then we're kind of in the wrong room. If you need to think about it, then obviously we haven't proven that we can help you to get the result, or you've got a doubt in your mind about other priorities, right? So I want to be super clear that we can eliminate that right up front of the I need to think about it. Does that make sense? They go, yeah, that makes sense. Great. So I'm going to ask you that question, right? Can you give yourself permission to say no to this deal, right, or this opportunity? They go, yep, I can do that. So when you get on the day, right, on the day, you're going to ask again, say, hey, we're going to say no today. Are you okay to say no? They go, yeah, I'm okay to say no. Great. So if we've got the right plan, we've got the right thing, we're going to make it happen. Yes, great. And now you've eliminated the I need to think about it 3 times. The secret trick that I haven't shared with you only gets done with the people I work with. It's too cool to give away for free, right? But it works. It kills the I need to. You never ever get. If you just do what I just shared with you, you pretty much eliminate that concept of, hey, I need to think about it. Because it's not only to think about it, it's a question. So I'm going to walk you through what happens so that it's easy for people to close the deal, right? I'm going to walk you through a simple, easy process for close. So these things here, we want to eliminate, right? Motivated, I know I've got to spend the money. I know I've got to make a decision. Yes, my partner's going to be there. This is why we need to do this thing, right? Well, we've chosen Facebook or AdWords or sales funnels or whatever it is you sell. I understand we're sitting down with you because you're going to help us. We understand that you've got some expertise and you're going to process. You think you can help us. And number 3, I know we need to do this now. So all of the reasons why people stop buying are completely eliminated right up front. And you can pretty much do this in a few minutes. It doesn't take much. So you can sit there and say, look, I don't want to waste your time. But then we come to the sales presentation. Then we come to the pitch. So how this works in eliminating the objections for the last time in the pitch is you're going to do this up front. So, hey, super excited, great to learn, got your objective, got your outcome. Just want to know, look, we've all been here before. I just want to make sure that at any time you feel that this is a view, that you can say no and you can walk away, we can part as friends. And alternatively, I feel that this isn't right fit for you, I can say no to you, and we can call it quits and we can part as friends. Is that okay? Okay, yeah, that's okay, cool. The other thing is that we're super clear at the end of the day, if this is the right plan for you, or not the right plan for you, that are you okay to make that decision to say no today? And they go, yeah, we can say no today. Absolutely. Great. Which means if we've got the right plan, then we can show you how we work together and we're on the way to making that a reality. Yes. And they go, yeah, that's exactly what we're here to do. Awesome. So we've now eliminated the I need to think about it, right? And so remember, we've shared the investment. The investment's going to be between here and here. And yesterday you said you were okay, you can handle that. Has anything changed? No, we can handle that. Great. We've got the money. Right. Great. I see we've got your partner here. Welcome. And I just want to make sure that you get the opportunity to answer it or ask any questions you need through this process. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to get very clear about your objective. We're going to get very clear about making sure that we're very super clear about your reason as to why you want to hit that outcome. From there, we need to highlight those bottlenecks that we've talked about and discovered and eliminate those bottlenecks. And from there, we're going to walk through the solution. We're going to walk through a plan that we've put together to bridge the gap from where you are now to where you want to be with this outcome you said that you want to achieve. And at the end of that, I'm going to walk you through on how we work together to get that result. Are you cool with all of that? They go, yep, I'm cool with all of that. That's pretty much what you do right up front. Now, when you hit the case study part, right, when you hit your demonstration, right, so you've gone, I'm clear, this is why, and this is what's stopping me. And this is how we work together. This is your demo, right? Which you all do. You all do a demonstration. How we're going to do your Facebook ad, landing page, whatever you do. Here's some case studies, right? You're going to share case studies. And here's the thing, right? If you do this one thing at the end of the presentation, you will allow the customer to buy. They will make the decision to buy, right? Because you ask one question, right? One logical question. So what most people do is most people rush to get to the end of the presentation, right? There's a transition phase at the end of the presentation. So they rush to get there. So when they rush to get there, all of a sudden it all becomes about the close, right? Then we get a little bit tippy-toey about the money. Then we get, so there's all this going on in this process, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm going to highlight myself here. Oops. All right, so here's the thing. Just doing, why is it not doing that? All right, so here's the thing. Why is that not working? All right, let's do that. All right, so what I'm doing here, this is what happens in your presentation. When you get to your presentation, you've handled the objections. You've now said, hey, like based on what we talked about, this is your objective, your outcome, what you want to achieve. And the reason why you want to do this is because you want to have all the, these are the reasons why this outcome is really important. And then from here, you've got some roadblocks. Roadblocks is the skill set, don't have the resources, people, time, all those sorts of things, maybe the wrong strategy, whatever the reasons were as to why this isn't working for you right now. So let me walk you through how we work together and how we've actually put a plan together to achieve that outcome, your plan that we put together. So you walk through the plan. So as you're going through the demonstration, you're going to say, hey, we haven't done this before. We haven't done this before. This is not the first time that we've done this. We've gotten results. Here's some examples, case study. Now, if you don't have a case study, you're going to walk through, you're going to reverse engineer your outcome, right? We know what we're talking about. This is how we do it. If you do have case studies, share the case study, right? So when you've done the case studies, then what you do is you ask this question, these series of questions. The question you ask is, cool, are you okay with everything right now? Objective, reasons, result. Are you cool with the process, the structure, everything cool? Yep, they're all cool. And you stop, right? And you ask this question. So what do you think we should do next? Where do you think we should go to from here? Where do you think we should go to from here? They're going to say, I don't know, you tell me. Or they're going to say, can we go through the price, right? So what you're going to do, generally what can happen is, I don't know, right? You answered all the questions, you've got all the thing. What do you think we should do? I don't know, you tell me. Well, is it okay if I walk you through how we work together, right? You don't go, now if they say yes, or what about the price, you say, great, super glad you asked that. So to do that, do you mind if I walk you through how we work together? Right, first. They go, yeah, great. So this is how we work together, right? We start the process, we have a team, we have onboarding, we have a structure to manage your information, communication, survey, the whole thing. This is how we work together. Our team, we actually do reporting. This is how we work together, right? So you go through it. So great. So you call about how we work together. You can see how we get the objective, the outcome. We're focused on delivering what we say. Yeah, we're all good. Great. Any questions about that? No, I haven't got any questions. Good. So great. Where do you think we should go to from here? And you shut up and they say, oh, how much is this going to cost? Great, glad you asked. So let me walk you through, right, what that does. Now, before I do that, with this plan, are you serious about going ahead with this plan? Okay, yeah, we're serious. Well, great, let me walk you through the investment, right? So then you walk them through the investment and say, hey, here's the plan. You must have 2 or 3 options. Don't give them one option. Biggest mistake everybody makes is a one option deal, right? You've got to give them 2 or 3. So 2 or 3 options. Option number 1, this is the poverty pack. Nobody wants to buy this, right? But option number 2 is the business development program. And generally, most of our customers, just like you, this is the one that they invest in. You're telling them the one that they want to invest in. You're directing them, right? Most people standard offering, this is it. But if you really want to put this on and make this work better, the majority of people we work with, this is the program that they invest in. We're telling them this is the one. Everybody just like you does this, right? And then we have the whole enchilada program, the big dollar program. If you want to really put things on steroids, you want to provide a comprehensive solution, then you need to invest in the big enchilada program, right? So you give them the options. Then you ask this question, of the 3 options that I've just shared, which do you believe suits you best? Based on what you've discussed and based on what you've seen, which do you believe suits you best? So you're giving them a yes or a yes answer. No yes or no. No 50-50, it's 100%. It's going to be a yes, right? Yes or yes. They go, great, that one. Awesome, great. Do you mind if I just walk through, just get very clear about the value proposition, what we're putting into place, so we're clear? Yep, this is what it is. This is the process. This is the thing. This is the investment. Do you have any questions around that? No. Do you have any? Is there anything that is missing for you? No. We're good. Great. So, and here's where you stop and you pause, and this is where you make all the money. You're going to stop and right in that moment, you're going to say, great. So, what do you think we should do now? And the only place that they can go is because they've just told you the money's okay, everything's okay, don't have any questions, right? Where do they have to go, right? They're going to go, so what do you think we should do now? And they're going to go, how do we get this thing started, right? They're going to buy, right? That little structure in the close, eliminate all the objections up front. There's no objections. Now, if you do get an objection, that's not to say that you won't get an objection at the end, because people are human, right? And there's always going to be a little question in the mind that they've got to answer. They're going to ask the question. So, okay, I might say, oh, look, actually, we probably need to think about this a little bit, okay? So let's get very clear. Remember, we talked about this before. 3 times we've asked you that you can say no to this deal today. So do you mind if I just ask you a couple of questions just to make sure that we're super clear about which part of this that you need to take into consideration? So has the objective changed? Do you want the, this thing that you said that you wanted that was really important and the reason why, has that changed? No, that hasn't changed. Great. You want that. Great. The reason why you want it, has that changed? Is that why you want it? Yep, we know we desperately want to do that. That's exactly why we're going to do it. That's why we're here to do it. We need to make this happen. Great. So the roadblocks, have they changed? Right? We've walked through the process and the program. You're okay. You're good with that? Right? Great. And the money, we said that we could handle the money. So that was not a problem. So we're good with that? Right? Yep. So great. What do you think we should do? And you stop and pause in that moment. You stop and pause in that moment, because what you're doing is you're allowing them to go, yeah, this is what we want to do, right? Now, if they go, oh, I still want to think about it. Okay, great. Which part of this have you got any questions about? And then I'll guarantee you it's either going to be the money. Ultimately, it's always going to be the money, right? So then you can say, great. And if you do this one little thing, this changes everything. If you do this thing, if you want to close a deal then and there, you're not going to let them go away. Because generally I find you have to ask people about 7 or 8 times to make a decision to buy, right? And this process that I've just shared with you for the no-brainer, and I'll talk about other no-brainer elements here, but this process I've just shared with you for the no-brainer, right, is it's hard for them to negate what they say that was important and what they want to do. Because they've made this decision and agreed all the way along for themselves, not for you. Because you've been asking questions and they're going in their mind, yeah, I need to do this, right? So what they're doing now is, if it's a money thing, and generally it's going to be a money thing, if you do this one little thing, you've got a deal. You're still going to close the sale on the spot. You say, hey, look, level with me. It's about the money, isn't it? You're looking at the allocation. Like, we're talking about a return on investment over here. We're talking your investment here. 1 or 2 customers is going to pay for that. Can you honestly tell me, with all the experience we've got and the results we've been able to have, that you're not going to be able to cover, at least break even on this thing, so that there's no risk, right? Oh no, I'm sure. No, I understand that's going to work, right? 2 clients. Would you give me 2 clients for you to generate? So I used to have this tactic. We used to call it patient casino, right? You give me 3 patients and I'll give you 15 to 20 patients back. Is that a good deal? Put a buck in a slot machine and get $5 every time you put a buck in a slot machine. Is that a good deal? Yes or no? Right? If you put 3 to 1, is that still a good deal? Yeah, it's still a good deal, because we're talking about ROI, right? A buck for 5, no brainer, right? Buck for 10, no brainer. Buck for 7, no brainer, right? So if it's a money thing, if it really is a money consideration, it's going to come out here. So the way you handle the money is really simple. Let's put the money aside for a second. And I just want to be super clear. Is there anything other than the actual money, knowing what we've discussed here, knowing what you've gone through, knowing that this is your plan, is there anything other than money that would stop you from doing this today? And they go, no, it's just money. Well, great. So in that moment, when they just say that, they've just bought your program. Now you might go, how's that work, John? Because it's still money is a problem. So now we deal with money. We bring the money back on the table and we say, hey, okay, great. We've got an initial installment to get this thing started. Normally we ask for an initial installment of $10,000. Instead of 10 grand, let's make it easy for you. What could you afford to pay to start this thing? And they might say, John, could we put 5 now and 5 in 30 days? You let them tell you, not you tell them, right? Because if I might sit there and say, like they might sit there and say, well, John, look, what if we did 7 now and 3 later? Whereas I'd be going 5 and I would diddle myself out of $2,000, right? So you say, well, what can you do to get this started, right? Or what if we actually put half now and put half in 30 days? You can do it that way. Or what if we stepped out the installment or the setup fee over the next 3 installments? You do not discount your price. You never, ever, if you go in and discount your price at this stage, you just told them that the price of the investment you made is a lie. That's what's going to stop you from making that sale. So it's not, but you cannot discount the price. You're going to stay the same price. The only way that you drop the price is if you take pieces out of the program. So great, we can make this more affordable for you. We're just going to take a couple of these pieces out. Which piece do you think we should remove? Should we remove the tracking so that we can't track and generate the ROI, or do you think we should keep that in? Oh, no, we've got to keep that in. Okay, great. Do you think we should move the strategy? We just do a willy-nilly template thing, stick it up there, see if it works? Or should we put the strategy? No, can't get rid of the strategy. We want to keep that sucker. All right, great. What about the lead management thing? Should we remove the lead management, drop our conversion rate, do the thing? Oh, no. We want to keep the lead conversion rate, right? Lead management thing, right? They're not going to drop things out to drop the price, right? But you can go down that route. They go, no, I want to do that. So look, what are we talking about here, right? You know, you can handle this. You can do this. You're directing them in that process. And so they go, yeah. Most people give up. Most people are scared in this moment, right? This is the fear factor coming in. Well, if they say no, they're like, oh, I just got to let them go. Don't let them go. Right? If you let them go, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing them a disservice, right? I want an absolute, definitive hell no that this is not for me. I need a definitive no. And if it's a no, it's a no, because a maybe is a no. A maybe is a no. How many people here, I'd love to ask the question, how many people here have done the pitch, it's all good, yep, we need to think about it, we're pretty confident, and then all of a sudden that person disappears and ghosts? How many people have had ghosting as part of the process, right? Much ghosting, yes. Yep, lots of ghosting. Who's got ghosting? Just type 3 if you had ghosting, where you've done a presentation, you've done the deal, and they just all of a sudden miraculously out of the summer blue, they don't even exist on the planet anymore. They're not even picking up your phone. They're not answering emails, right? There's a reason why that happens. The reason why that happens is because most people don't want to say no. That's why if you eliminate I want you to say no to me, right? You say, can you definitively say no? And they go, okay, great. It's like you're giving them permission to say no, right? That way the no, or I need to think about it, all that sort of stuff doesn't go. You can't let them go, because if you're letting them go without them answering the question that they have in their mind, then this is going to be out. They're going to feel bad that they've gone through this process. Remember, they've told you, I want to do this. This is awesome, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, no, I want to think about it, right? And then other priorities take place. So in this process, you want to make sure you're filling those questions. If you handle those 7 objections right up front, 95% of the time, you have got a deal on the table on the spot. They're going to go, yep, let's do this, right? And you're going to take a deposit on the phone call, on the spot. So no more ghosting, right? You're a professional, yeah? And this is how, because otherwise what's happened is somewhere along the line, if you get into a situation of ghosting, somewhere along the line, you haven't filtered that person. You didn't qualify them properly, or you didn't disqualify them properly. This shouldn't happen, right? You either want to do this or you don't want to do this. There's no in between. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it's a no, right? So it's either a yes, hell yeah, or hell no, I don't want to do this at all, right? So you want to eliminate, you want to go through the process of elimination in doing that. So before I move on to the clever part of money and pricing and structure and strategy, love to be able to, if you want to type in, what are your takeaways so far in this training? What are some of the takeaways? Just type in the takeaways in the chat while I take a sip of my water. Just type in the chat. And if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you want to type in the chat or got questions. Yeah, answer the questions. Get the objections out of the way right up front. Structure, yes. Mark, you want to have a process and a structure to follow. So if you take everybody through that process, then you have the perfect path to generating a sale. This is something you're going to learn and improve and get better and better and better at, right? Frame money up front, absolutely. Anything else? You know, like I don't want to get to the point where we're all excited and then you show the money and they go, ah, man, that was way more than I thought it was, right? I don't want to get into a situation where I haven't really addressed the money and then I show the money and they go, yeah, this is great, let's do it. I don't want that situation either. The reason why I don't want that situation, if somebody's so eager to jump in, then the price is too cheap. The value proposition was way high. I didn't charge enough, right? And I know in our world that we don't charge enough. That's a really big key to this process, right? Let them think about the next step, right? And be quiet. Yeah, be paused, be quiet, allow them to do that. Smart pauses to have them finish their frame of thought. Yeah, most people, you jump in too quick, right? You feel, if you ask the question, just oftentimes when I'm doing this, I'll go, hang on a second, I'll let you think about that for a second. Hang on a second. Now, 10 seconds seems like a long time, right? But it's enough time because if you speak or if you interrupt, then you literally take them out of the train of thought. You've got to allow them to do that. Christine, repeat clarifying questions through the presentation. Yeah, I repeat like, we're cool. You got any questions? Can you see how this works? Yep, great. So great. What do you think we should do next? Or where do you think we should go to from here in the process? So with that, let's get into the rest of the presentation. Whoops. Okay. So hopefully that's going to show up on the screen very quickly in the next 10 seconds. Here we go. All right. All right. So the next section I want to talk about the no-brainer offer tactic. So the no-brainer offer tactic is where you understand and use their numbers. If we understand and use their numbers, then it's very easy that when we come up with a proposition or an option for them to consider, that it's like, that just makes so much sense. I'm going to show you a really cool tool that you can get, but there are free tools out there. If you Google conversion calculators and ROI calculators, there's a bunch of free ones out there that you can use. There's lots of free spreadsheets, but I'm going to show you one that has a bit of a demonstration to it. But what I want to do is I want to take you through this concept so you understand that if you're helping a client to understand their business a little bit better, get really clear, and especially when you focus on the numbers, right, then it makes it easy for them to go, no brainer, I want to invest. So you want to unpack the profit for a business, right? So what does that mean, right? What's the revenue outcome that you want to target? So let's say I'm asking a business, say, look, ultimately, percentage-wise, growth-wise, what's the number here, right? And they might say $600,000. You know, we want to increase our business by 30%. 30% is 600K, roughly 50K extra per month over and above what we're doing right now. Over and above what we're doing right now. Okay, cool. Right, so there's an objective, right? There's an outcome and objective. Over and above what we do now, you want 50K per month. Why is that important to you? We're going to go through that whole process. But we're unpacking profit, we're unpacking revenue, right? So what's your average sale? And they might say, well, for us, let's say they're a cheap roofing company and their average sale is $10,000, right? So I'm just using these numbers as an example. So great. Okay, let's get clear about what your average sale is. 10K, great. All right, so essentially to hit $600,000 over and above what you've got to do now, you've got to do 5 sales per month, right? 5 sales a month, 50 grand a month. It's roughly a sale a week, right? So my next question is, out of the 10 prospects, what is the conversion rate to sales? Now, most people will say 20%. Most people say 1 in 5 will do it. Now, if you're dealing with a small business and the owner of the business will say things like, oh, we got an 80% conversion rate, or we do a 50% conversion rate, right? And I'll sit there and say, well, that's pretty good, but there's not really much you can do with a 50% conversion rate, right? That means so then with that, maybe you've got the 50%, but if you're relying on others, the conversion rate will be a lot slower, or a lot lower. On average, most people will say we should be able to do 2 in 10, 3 in 10, 30% would be about an average. 20% is the average, right? So to 10 people to come to you, your conversion rate is 20%, right? So 25 prospects per month to close. That should be to close, not are closed. To close 5 deals. So we need 25 people to come to you over and above what you're doing right now to get 5 deals, right? And they go, yeah, that makes sense. Great. So out of 10K, what would you pay to buy those sales or that sales? And now I'm putting this number here, 10 to 15%. So here's a question I often ask people, and the whole idea is anchoring, right? How much they would spend, this is the price anchoring thing, how much they would spend, right, to buy a customer. So if a customer is going to be 10 grand to you, of that $10,000, how much would you be willing to spend to buy that $10,000, right? And oftentimes I get numbers of like 10%, right, or 15%, right? So they're essentially saying, I'm willing to spend $1,000 to acquire a $10,000 customer, or $1,500 to acquire a $10,000 customer. That's roughly what they're doing, right? So 10 customers, right? So for every 10 sales, you're willing to invest $10,000 to $15,000 a month, right? 10 sales, 10,000. 10 customers, 10,000, right? 10 to 15,000. So for every 10, this is what you're willing to invest, 10 to 15,000 a month, right? To get your sales, yeah? So when they're giving you this number, it's their number in their head, right? Most businesses are already spending some form of money on some form of marketing in some area in their business, right? They're either buying leads, they're in directories, they're advertising in above the line medium, newspaper, billboards, TV, radio, right? You know, then they're advertising on Facebook, but they're spending something, right? Most businesses over $1 million are spending some money somewhere to generate clients. There are industries that will say things like, we don't spend any money, we've never spent any money advertising. But somewhere in their process, they've spent money on marketing, sponsorships, events, seminars, all that sort of stuff, right? So every 10 sales, 10 to 15 grand, $10 to $15,000, you're willing to invest to buy 10 sales, right? That's $60,000 to $90,000, right? That's a 6 to 1, right? Or a 9 to 1 return on investment, depending on whichever deal you're doing, right? 60K to 90K over a year, by the way, over a year. So $60,000, that's a nice chunky budget. I can work with that. $90,000, $8,000 a month, I can work with that. That's a nice chunky budget, right, in the marketplace. So here's the thing, right? The closing question. Would you invest 60 to 90K to generate 600,000 sales, right? Is it fair to invest? Now, you may not be charging $60,000, but what you're doing is you're allowing them in their mind to go, yeah, I'd spend 60 to make 600, right? Or 90 to spend 600, right? So now with a referral rate of 30%, this also gives you 18 more sales, right? At 180K, right? Over the course of the year, if you had a 30% increase, if you had a referral rate, if 1 in 3 customers bought, so for every 10 clients you brought on board, you would generate another 3 sales, right? Another 3 sales. So you multiply that out by over the year and it's 36 sales, right? 18 more sales over the year. So you break the numbers down, right? Gives you 18 more sales over the year. It's $180,000 to $10,000 a sale. If we just converted, if you had a referral rate of 30%, that number should be 360K, not 180K. So essentially, based on those numbers, right, I'm saying 780K in revenue this year and 2.3 million over the next 3 years, if we just focused on that. So my question again, is it worth investing $60,000 or $90,000 a year, right, to generate up to $800,000 or more dollars in sales? Yes or no? Right? Most people go, yeah, no brainer. Because you're using their numbers, you're not using your numbers in that process, right? You know, would you like to go to the program? When would be a good time to start generating those results? Even if we did half of that revenue, would it be worth investing in this program to get to go and chase that, right? If we generate 2.4 million over the next 3 years, is it worth starting a process or a program to go and get that kind of money, right? Now, I know there's some questions here because a lot of people don't do this and they don't operate in this way. But when you start working the numbers, when you start understanding people's conversion rates, I'll give you another example of this. I'm just looking at the next slide. So I'm going to give you another example. So I'm going to stop and share for a second, right? So this is how you can anchor strong no-brainer pricing structures. Right now, if we look at the contractor market and if we look at Home Advisor, the average roofing company on Home Advisor to get an appointment, because remember these leads are shared with a whole bunch of other roofing contractors, right? Home advisor is not just giving a lead to one roofer, they're giving lead to 10 or 20 roofers, right? So it's whoever gets there first or whoever gets there quickest. So you buy all these leads off Home Advisor. Generally, we found when they start working the numbers, they'll say, well, okay, roughly, what are you spending per lead from Home Advisor? And they'll say, $100, right? $100 per lead. Okay, great. $100 per lead. How many of those leads of the $100, how long does it take you? Or out of 10, right? How much does it cost you to get an appointment? Work it out, right? How many appointments how much money did you spend with Home Advisor last month? And how many appointments did you get, right, from Home Advisor? And I'll sit there and say, I start working it out and I'll sit there and they go, holy cow, we just spent $800 to get an appointment, not to get a sale, not to close a sale, to get an appointment. To close a sale, they will spend between $5,000 and $8,000 on Home Advisor leads to close one sale, right? $5,000 and $8,000 over $16,000 deal is a lot of money, but they don't know that until you show them. Until you ask these questions, hey, right now, how much are you paying for Home Advisor leads? Oh, we pay, $100 or $60 or whatever. So how many leads does it take to get an appointment? Well, let's figure this out, right? What was your bill for Home Advisor last month? How many appointments did you make out of that? And they go, oh my God, I'm spending $1,000 to make an appointment, or $600 or $800 to make an appointment. Now I know on Facebook, I could buy a lead for between, at the lowest end, I could buy one for 15, but I'm probably looking at about, probably 80 to $100 for a decent lead, right? An actual lead that I own that I'm not going to share. And by the time, if I'm really good at what I do, I should be paying roughly a cost of $200 for an appointment on average, right? That's what I know. So my question is, would you rather pay $800 to $1,000 for an appointment, or would you like a guaranteed appointment for $200? Which would you prefer, right? I'll take the $200 any day of the week, right? So the next part of that equation or that question, if we understand conversion based on those numbers, the next part of the equation is what, are you motivated to grow, right? What percentage, like how many extra deals, how many extra roofs do you want to bank in per month? Now, if somebody says, oh, I want to just get 2 more roofs, then you can't work with them, right? Because if you give them 30 leads and they've got a conversion rate of 20%, they're going to make 6 sales, not 2 sales, and they can't cope with the growth. So they're going to stop generating leads with you. So you're working with the wrong roofer, right, when you do that, right? So you need to be listening for them to say, yeah, we want 5 or 10 or 15 leads. That's what we want, right, in that process, yeah? So understand that the motivation to grow is a really important question, right, especially around conversion and around the numbers, right? The other side of this process that I'm sharing with you when you're talking to the roofer about the leads, because naturally you want the person to stay for as long as possible, right? So you always want to be feeding. You want a predictable process, predictable system to deliver what they're asking for, right? And they will stay if you deliver. They will stay if you deliver, if you hold them accountable to their sales. But one thing I want to share with you, just so you know, and this is why the lead generation market fails. Right? This is why the system, the process, the whole thing goes to pot. You need to think about when you get leads for somebody, it's all about setting the expectations. So this is another area where you create the no-brainer scenario. If you're setting expectations for the lead, right? If you say I can give you 30 leads, right? That doesn't mean 30 sales. Out of those 30 leads, it's going to be dependent on how you filter them, how you manage them, and you might end up doing from 30 leads. You might end up with I'm just going to, whoever that is, I'm just going to mute everybody. I don't know who that is, so just making sure I mute. So out of 30 leads, they might only make 10 appointments out of 30 leads. Out of the 10 appointments, if you close 20%, you're going to make 2 sales. So out of 30 leads, you're going to close 2 sales, right? So you're setting the expectation of 3 sales, right? So why is only 3 sales out of 30? Well, it's all about how you manage the lead, right? The faster that you respond, the better that you ask questions, the way that you help people to buy. If you manage the lead better, your conversion rate will be significantly higher, and your appointment rates will also be significantly higher, right? I've heard many horror stories. I had one of our champions who works in the HVAC market came to me and said, dude, I'm working with a client. We gave 200 leads and they haven't been able to close them. These leads, they're coming back to me saying these leads suck, right? And so I said, 200 leads, not a single sale, right? Okay, so my first question is, not the quality of the lead. My first question is, how is the lead being managed, right? Now, you can use this story with your own customers, right? So here's how the lead was being managed. So I said, well, the only thing we're going to do is we're going to find out and call these leads. Now, not all the leads, but, can we, how many do you want to call? Well, I'll call at least half of them, right? So out of the 200 leads, they spoke to 90 customers who were in those leads, right? And here's what they discovered. 27 of the 90 customers did buy their air conditioning unit from someone else. 27 leads, right? Now think about this. Average sale, let's say it's 10 grand. That's $270,000 of air conditioning units that were not purchased by the person who the leads before, but they went elsewhere because they didn't get called. Now, the second question, hey, did somebody call you? No. Did somebody answer your questions? No. Did you get the help that you were looking for when you inquired about this product? No. And they recorded all these phone calls, by the way. They recorded 90 phone calls. Here's an interesting thing that came up in the 90 phone calls. 15 people in the inquiries, the 90 people that they called up, said that they were still interested in buying an air conditioning unit, right? 15 of the 90 people that they followed up, these are leads that were apparently terrible, horrible leads that weren't worth anything. 15 of them, 27 of them bought from somebody else because they weren't managed. 15 of them still wanted to buy an air conditioning unit, right? Still wanted to buy it. So I said to the person that I work with, I said, you need to go back to the client. First of all, share the recordings, share the numbers, because essentially the advertising that you've been doing for them, they've essentially been advertising for their competition. Because that $270,000 should be in their bank account, not in the other bank account. The second thing is let them know that you've got 15 people who need a quote on an air conditioning unit and ask them the question, do I give these 15 people to you or do I give them to somebody else? Would we call these people up and help them buy the air conditioning unit? Or do we give these leads to somebody else, to another air conditioning? I can go and call another air conditioning company and we can immediately give those leads to them because they need to be contacted today. So question, are you going to contact them today or do you want to call it quits with us and we no longer work together? I need to go and help these people buy air conditioners. What do you want to do? Right? The reason why the client failed is because they did not have an optimized sales process. And the other reason they failed is because they didn't follow up in a timely fashion. They didn't make it important enough to manage and handle leads. Now, the second problem here is that the person I work with also has a responsibility, right? The responsibility now was to track the leads, right? Track the phone calls, track the leads. That was number one. Number two, have a lead management process so they can actually go and look at what was going on in the process so that they can minimize the risk of loss in the market. This happens all the time. A no-brainer offer is, hey, we want to make sure we're going to track every single lead so that you can actually see what it costs you to acquire a customer. Because if we can figure out what it costs you to acquire a customer, then we can scale. We can actually grow bigger, faster, better. That's what you want, right? Ultimately. So this is why the no-brainer is you. We measure and track and keep you accountable for every lead that is generated, right? We want to know and see this through, right? We have somebody here, I think it was Howard yesterday, like generate the lead, manage the lead, and set the appointment, right? It's a no-brainer offer. You want appointments, not leads, right? So this is how you use anchoring of conversion, anchoring of price to create that no-brainer deal. By the way, share that story because it's true. It happens all the time. It happens all the time, right? In that market. Now, any questions before I move on to the training? Any other questions? What's the difference between a triage call and a discovery call? A triage call is, are you fit? Do you fit? Is this the right time for you? Do you want to spend the money? Can we help you? Why are you calling us? A triage is really to discover whether or not they can afford, that they're ready to go now, that they're goal decision makers. That's a triage. A discovery call is Q&A. Let's get really clear. So the next step is we're going to work together. To be able to work together, we're going to go do discovery, right? Most people, unfortunately, treat the discovery session they call that the strategy session. It's not a strategy session, it's discovery, right? If you have to ask questions to go away, do a proposal and follow that up, that's discovery. That's not a triage. So the difference between a triage and a discovery call means that they qualify and that you're taking the next step in the sales process by actually understanding exactly what they need, what they're looking for, and the plan that you're going to put together on how you can help them deliver the result you're looking to deliver. That's the difference between a triage and discovery. Triage is a disqualification call. Are you fit? Are you ready? Can you buy? You're going to make a decision? Yes, no? Okay, great. Big tick. Our next step is discovery. Now, discovery could be paid as well, not necessarily free. A lot of the people I work with are actually selling strategy sessions as opposed to giving away for free. They're getting paid, not free, right? Rajesh, they always have a rock solid offer that has been working for years, no matter what, but they have less than 10% conversion. Well, then the offer is not as solid, or the sales process isn't as solid. A rock solid offer, if I had a rock solid offer, the conversion rate should be 80%. That's a rock solid offer. So the offer isn't rock solid. The offer is horseshit if it's only got a 10% conversion. Or the way it's sold isn't working. The way it's sold isn't working. So it's not about the offer, it's about the sales process. So the question you've got to ask, if you're going to go for a higher conversion rate or percentage of conversion rate, the question you've got to ask is, what's the question, or what's the problem we're not solving here? What are we not asking to be able to help a person take the next step? This is all about the buyer's journey, the stuff that I talked about yesterday, right? What is the journey the buyer takes, and how do we help them take that journey? So you might have a great offer, right? But I have to question how great the offer is if you're only converting 10%. To me, that would mean, like, if the offer was really great, it would sell itself. If the offer was amazing, it would sell itself, right? Depends on what the offer is. But if the offer is average, if the offer is okay, and you're getting interest, right? Well, the conversion is about the sales process. It's about marrying and fitting the process. So, yeah, well, then good luck. I would then go and take their idea and their offer, and I'd go to the competitor and say, listen, we've got a rock solid offer, but conversion rate, if you want to kill the competition, this is how we go and do it. Go and work for the competition. If you're doing cold outreach, what would you still do triage call, or is a call more suited for prospects who call us first? Both. That you've got to sell triage, right? When you're doing cold outbound reach, you can do the triage in the cold outbound reach, right? Or you can do the initial part of the triage, right? Because you've got to find the point of, are you interested in doing this? Is it something that you are interested in, right? How interested, how important, how useful is this thing if you want to do that, Daniel? It's all about, so you're still going to have to do the qualifier. Okay? The goal is to disqualify, not to qualify. Disqualify, not to qualify. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so couple of closures. Okay, opportunity cost. Now, this is another really important figure that you can use, because a lot of people don't realize how powerful this is in conversation. So what's the opportunity cost? So remember, I'm going to explain what opportunity cost is. Opportunity cost is the balance of the revenue that you don't generate, right, that you miss out on, from up against the sales conversion, right? So let me demonstrate this to you. So oftentimes I ask the question, how many leads are you getting a month? And I'll say, I get 100 leads. All right, great. So how many appointments do you make from those leads? And they might say, oh, well, I make 40 appointments, right? So 40% of the leads out of the 100 leads turn into an appointment, right? So now I'm going to ask you, so what's your conversion rate to sale from the appointments? And they'll say, well, 25% conversion rate. 1 in every 4, they buy. Great. Okay, so you make 10 sales out of 40 appointments. That's $10,000 per sale. That's $100,000, right? So every time you generate 10 sales, you lose $300,000 in sales because you didn't close 30 of them. You only closed 10, you got 30 left. 30 times 10, that's $300,000. That is your opportunity cost, right? That is the cost of the opportunity. The opportunity is the sales that you don't close, right? That's what that is in that process. So here's the thing. Do that for 10 months, and that's $3 million in sales that you lose, right? So for every 100,000 or for every $1 million in revenue, if you play these numbers, you're going to lose $3 million worth of opportunity cost. That's a lot of money to lose because you've already paid the money to acquire the lead, right? And if you think about it, if we actually really wanted to calculate a volume-based opportunity cost, you would actually say it's 600, like 60 leads a month, right? So 60 leads is 600,000 for the total cost. What you're doing is you're doing the opportunity cost based on the conversion to appointment, not on the conversion for the opportunity, right? In terms of all the leads, right? So if you look at 3 million, so here's the thing, right? If we close 3 more sales out of 30 who didn't buy, so if out of every 30 people that didn't buy, we just closed 3 sales, right? That means you're going to add an extra $360,000 in extra revenue to the business. Not all the sales converted, but just 3 more. Do you think if we looked at our process, maybe put some automation in, maybe did some call tracking, maybe did a few pieces, do you think we can get another 3 sales? That's an extra $360,000 a year for your $10,000 based on these numbers, right? Oops, I'll just go through there, right? So what you're doing now again, let's extrapolate that out to 3 years, and that's coming up to $1 million, right? Over 3 years that you would pick up if you just closed 1 more in every 10 sales, not all the sales, just another 3. That's a huge increase in revenue, right? That's a huge increase in revenue. So my question is it worth chasing the 360 grand? If we improved our ability to filter, qualify, get the appointment booked for you, right? What would happen, right, if you monitored, measured, and tracked your sales process, your approach, right? So these are, I'm going to stop you for a second. If you've got any questions, ask me some questions. If you have a takeaway, what are some of the takeaways that you've had in what I've shared? Because by the way, does anybody go into conversion numbers with people? Does anybody go into that? Just type 1 if you actually do that for your process. Because if you don't, this is where you differentiate. This is where you change the game.
John, I have a question. If we're presenting our package and they say, well, its price is too much, and you go through, well, you want to take out the lead generation, you want to take out the lead management, etc. And let's say, you know, my package is the lead gen, lead management, an ISA phone, a live person calling the lead.
Yeah.
So let's say they say, well, you know, we have an office. We don't want to, we'll ditch the ISA part. Well,
okay.
You know, from experience, they suck at the follow-up, and that's going to heavily impact the conversion on that. Should we stand our ground and say, well, this is the package? We could go to package A, if the lower package, if you want, and maybe give them the same package with lesser service or something, you know, lesser ad spend or something like that. But what's your feeling on breaking up the package like that?
You don't need to, Howard. It's never going to get to that because the whole idea is they don't want to lose the element that are going to get the result, right? They don't want to. They don't want to break the package up. They don't want to do that. All we're dealing with here. So the whole price thing only comes into play if we didn't anchor that price right at the very beginning. It will only be a problem. The price will only be a problem if they don't know the price before they get there. If they do know the price before they get there, then it's not going to be a problem. Right, yeah. And they retreat to it. But if they don't know the price, if you're saying, okay, I'm going to reveal my price at the end of this, if they don't know the price, then naturally they're going to go, oh, okay, that was a little bit more, right? So then you've got to make sure that the work that you did in setting the objective, the outcome, say, look, at the end of the day, if you're paying me 3, you're saying that you want to make 5 sales, we get 5 sales, we're going to give you 50 leads, right? Which is not hard to do, by the way. If we get you 50 leads, you make 5 sales. So, you know, your investment in us is $3,000 and you make $50,000. Well, that's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How is that? That's a good deal, yeah? You would do that. You would take that deal every day of the week. I take that deal every day of the week. So I guess we should take the deal, yes? Nod your head and they go, yeah, we'll take the deal, right?
Yeah.
This is weird. And say, listen, would you give up 3 patients, right? 6 grand, would you give up 3 patients if we gave you on the back end of that 15 to 20 patients back? Would you give us 3 and get 15, 20 back? Yes or no? Right?
Yeah,
Oh, well, definitely. It's a no-brainer, right? And when you put it in terms where they can see the value prop from what they're investing and what the return is, what the outcome is, because we need to be selling the result, not the feature or what we're doing, right? We need to be very open and honest about our result, right? Otherwise, what's the point of being there, right? You want to help people get the result. That's what you've designed in your business, your package, your program. And the idea is you want to run those numbers, right? And if you're really good at what you do, Howard, and I know you're a really smart guy, right? I know that you care enough that you'd be talking to your clients, say, look, maybe you need to look at your sales processes a bit better. Maybe you need to track them, we need to call and we need to record and filter these and improve our capability so that we convert these sales. That would make sense, wouldn't it? And they go, Howard, you're a trusted advisor. This is amazing. Or you could go and, you know what, I know this is the part that's missing. Let's help you with that part. Your fee for us to help you with that part is X amount of dollars, and they pay you more money, right, to help them. We've done that where people go, look, you know, can you train our people? Yes, I can. Half a day's training, $10,000. We'll record the training, package it up to you. Then we'll take everybody through the training. We'll run them through an assessment, right, so they're competent. We'll get everybody to sign off that they've done the training. And now you've got a competency and an assessment in the training. But you've been paid 10 grand to deliver it, right? Everybody goes through the training. You have a competency, you've got to sign off. The client has taken that person, now becomes accountable, responsible to make sure they follow through on the training. That's professional, right? That's professional. That's what people pay a lot more money for. There's a guy called Jay Bayer. He's in the dental space. He has a thing called Fix the Phones. He charges dental practices $40,000 to teach their reception staff how to handle the phones. 40 grand. And this is how he gets his clients. He mystery shops their business or their practice, mystery shops them, and then records the phone calls. Then he sends the phone calls to the dental practice owner and says, listen, we mystery shopped you and we just want to let you know what we found. By the way, before you listen to the recordings, please do not don't fire the front end person. Please, you know, there's a big thing that says, you're going to hate this. You're going to be very upset when you listen to this recording. Please do not fire your front end person. It is not their fault. They do not know what they do, right? They need to be trained properly. So they listen to the calls. I'm going to touch base and say, how do you think about that? If we fix the phones and fix this person and train this person properly, that's going to be worth millions of dollars worth of revenue to your dental practice. So is it worth investing $40,000 in that training that's going to get that up to speed to generate that $500,000, million, 3 million, 4 million over the next 3 to 5 years? Is it worth spending the 40 grand, Howard?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I think you could train them for a lot less than 40,000, but okay.
Well, you know, but the dental practice doesn't. He doesn't know. He's going, well, you're the best guy in the world. This is what look at our other dental practices, right? Look at this guy here, you know, $1 million, 4 million, 2 million, 5 million. They tell you, like, why would you spend 40 grand? All these guys did just like you. Their dental practices just like you, right? So you want to do what these guys do, or you want to just go and find somebody else to do it cheaper and not get these results, or maybe these results? What do you want to do? Well, let's get the result, right? By the way, Jay makes $80 million a year selling this to dental practices, right? $80 million. So dental practices don't mind paying 40 grand to fix the phones, right? So you know, it works, right? But the power of demonstration, this is what happens when it doesn't work. Yeah? You know,
as part of an add-on or so, we could train their staff as well. How would we access? Is there any staff training or receptionist training or that kind of thing that might cross various niches? Or do you know any resource for that?
Just Google them. There's plenty of trainings. There's plenty of trainings on Udemy. There's plenty of trainings on Google. Just Google the training. There's off-the-shelf license training you can actually buy and then plug it in and put your own brand on top and say, hey, we give you the package. We, as a company back in the day, this is something we did. We built a licensable package to help people to handle inquiries. And every time they sold a package, we made $2 grand, you know. So yeah, there's plenty of off-the-shelf sort of stuff. You don't have to spend, not at that level, but There's plenty of off-the-shelf sort of stuff that you can do. There's heaps of it. So yeah. So if you're going to go down that track, you're adding value, you're adding another product category in that process. If you're going to ask you questions in the, so Rajesh, how do we showcase those numbers for something that is not directly tangible in revenue like SEO? It's really easy, Rajesh. In SEO, you can track, right? So for example, you can say, this is, by the way, if you know SEO, if you know about SEO or you have some insight, for every 1,000 leads that go, every 1,000 visits that go to a website, depending on, and it's all dependent upon the bounce rate. So if the bounce rate's up at 60 to 70%, right, then the conversion rate is going to be really low. In fact, the conversion rate will be probably around 0.5% for every 1,000 visitors if the bounce rate is 60 to 70%, right? So the way it would work, let's say we had a 50% bounce rate. So 1,000 people come to the site, 500 people hang around for more than a minute, right? Well, generally about a minute. 500 people hang around a minute. Half of those people will drop off after a minute. So we're down to 250 people. Of the 250 people, they will spend another 30 seconds on the site. Out of that 250, it'll halve again. You're going to end up with about 125. Of the 125, only 1/3 ever make it to a contact us page. Only 1/3 will ever make it. So about 30 people will end up to a contact us page. Only 15 people out of the 30 will actually take an action, a physical action towards a sale, not buy, a physical action, fill in the form, go to the checkout page. Only 15 of those people will get there, and only 3 to 5 will buy out of every 1,000, 3 to 5. Now you can track those numbers. So you can literally sit down and say, hey, based on the model, this is what goes on in this market, 1,000 visitors, 3 to 5 sales, right? So 10,000 visitors, right? 20 to 30 sales. But you have to track, it's all about tracking. Right. So what you want to do is you want to have a tracker that focuses on conversion, not on the system. So what do I mean by focusing on conversion? So for example, I'm going to share my screen.
Is that same for mobile apps also?
Yeah, you'll find if depending on the bounce rate, it's all about how long they stay. The longer they stay, they're more inclined to take a buying action. And where you can actually measure buying actions is where if they're filling in a form, making an inquiry, not downloading a lead magnet. Downloading a lead magnet is not an action to sale. Downloading a lead magnet is information. They're interested in more information, right? So if it's fill in the contact form, have somebody call me. If it's press the phone number, you can actually dynamic phone number. You can track that. So you can say, well, you know, when 1,000 people visit, of the 1,000 people, 7 people picked up the phone and called me, right? Of the 7 people, how many people bought, right? You track your phones, right? Track your sales. If they go to a buy now and fill in their credit card and press submit, you can track that. You can say, you know, let's look at the traffic here. If we actually have the goals and the analytics set up, we can track how many people hit that submit button when they put the credit card in. Out of 1,000 people, it might be you get a sale out of every 2,000 people, right? So how do you improve, you know, what are the elements you need to do to improve the conversion? You can make SEO very, very tangible when you actually put the goal points and conversion elements for on-page, off-page conversion for campaigns or for traffic on a website. So very quickly, I'm just going to share my screen here. I'm just hoping you can actually see it. I'm going to see this if it comes up. So I'm not sure it's coming up on the screen. Let me just stop sharing for a second and let me just kill my, okay, so here we go. I'm going to try this again. All right. So you'll notice this piece of software is called Geru, right? So it's a really cool. There's plenty of software that does this for free. Geru is a paid software. I'm not sitting there and recommending you should buy Geru, GRU.com. But the cool thing about Geru is you can map out a funnel. So this is essentially a lead funnel, right? Facebook ad, opt-in page, thank you page, sales page, order form page, email pieces, right? So it's a funnel, right? Basically. But if you look here on the right-hand side of Geru, right? It actually has some numbers. There are numbers attached to these caption points. So if you have an ROI calculator, you can use an ROI calculator on ad campaigns. You can say, okay, great, cost per action. So for example, so for every click on the page, this particular campaign makes $3.12, right? Cost per lead, $10. Cost per action, cost per appointment, $36 per appointment. Revenue generated, $6,245. Monthly profit, $4,083. This is a profitable campaign. Now I can start playing with the numbers here and actually change the numbers, and it would simulate different ROI. So it will tell me how much money I've got to spend to break even and how much money I've got to spend to make a profit. So if I know what the average cost per lead is or what the average cost per action is, I can put those numbers into the calculator here, and it'll automatically simulate for me what the ROI is. So I can sit there and say, well, if you want to run a positive Facebook ad campaign based on these numbers, this is roughly what you need to be investing in your advertising marketing, and roughly your profit margins based on your average sales, this is what's going to happen. So you can use tools like this in your demonstration to say, look, no brainer, you want to run a positive ROI campaign. Well, we only recommend a positive ROI campaign. Well, great, let me walk you through and let's crunch the numbers. And you can sit there. In fact, we've had people in our champions team use this and close like $80,000 Facebook ad deals, right? Like the words really weird. The words that come back, yeah, when they saw the ROI thing, it was a no-brainer. They just went, yep, I need to do this. So you can use conversion calculators, put your clients' numbers in the calculators, their numbers, not your numbers, and hit simulate or hit submit. And it'll show you roughly, based on their conversions, based on ad cost, based on acquisition, it'll roughly show you the result. So you can demonstrate the result in advance with pretty basic numbers, with conservative numbers. So this is something that I would highly encourage. I'm not necessarily saying you should get Geru. I'm saying you can just go and get free conversion calculators on Google spreadsheets that'll do all this work out for Facebook ads, put the numbers in there, and you can very quickly work out what it's going to cost per lead, what it's going to cost per appointment, and what it's going to cost per sale, right, in the process. So the more that you can demonstrate, right, Johnny says, yeah, I have that too. Yeah, the more, that's an awesome question, yeah. The more you can demonstrate, right, your result, the easier or the better it is, the outcome that you can have for your clients, right? When you're presenting a 3-package levels, do you ever do a value stack? So I'm really glad you asked this question. Most people, so in our world, so this is the thing, in our world, Daniel, in the internet marketing world, we understand what a value stack is. We understand that we need to break down the value of all those things. In the offline world, in the brick and mortar world, they don't know what a value stack is. So a value stack can be very powerful if it's demonstrated in the offline world. In the online world, people have seen it too many times. People have seen it over and over and over again, and you can get a bit jaded by the value stack, right? You can get a bit jaded by the value stack. But I would say do the value stack, but just be, don't overinflate the numbers. Don't overinflate the numbers. So yeah, do a value stack with the 3 packages. Absolutely. Package number 1 might have 2 pieces in it. Package number 3 has got 6 or 7 pieces in it, or 2's got 6, 7 pieces in it. Package number 3 has got 10 pieces in it, right? Whatever the stack is, right? In terms of what you do. By the way, if you are going to articulate a value stack to show the value, so oftentimes one thing I find is, when I talk to a lot of business owners, I find that that they don't actually understand what goes into delivering the outcome, right? So oftentimes, one of the best things you can do is, if you're teaching what you know, you say, well, look, this is what it actually takes to get a positive ROI out of a Facebook ad campaign. Number 1, you've got to understand the strategy. You've got to understand what is the objective, what is the outcome, what is the pathway that you're helping a client to take to optimize for the result, right? That's number 1. Number 2, then comes the offer, right? The offer has got to be an offer that at least converts. We need a converting offer. Then from a converting offer, we need the sales copy. So we need to articulate a sales copy structure. Then we need to have the creative. So we have to have the image, right, that goes along with that. And then we need the optimization. Now in the optimization, we need to create some variations. So in the variations, we're going to create probably up to 10 different examples of the same offer so that we can see which one is going to actually work, right? From there, we need to set a budget, and we need to allocate the ability to pick and test the ads so that we can scale and get better results. So we're going to do A/B split testing, and we're going to allocate a budget for scale. Once we've found the control that works in our management process, then we're going to scale that ad, and then we're going to see the results in your bank account, right? And we're going to see the results in the leads. So when you sit down and you unpack that for a client, and then you say, hey, well, our management fee to manage that entire process is $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Well, that's a no-brainer, right? Because people go, oh my God, I didn't realize that much went into it, right? Because they don't. All they think is, oh, we're just going to run some ads and away you go. Some guy in, my apology to the people on the continent, but some guy in Hyderabad in India is going to charge you $100 a month to manage your Facebook ad account. And apparently they are going to actually do better than the guy who's literally sitting on your ad account and give you better results. They can do the optimization, the campaign management, the A/B split testing, all for $100 a month, right? So they're going, why am I paying you $3 and I'm paying the guy in Hyderabad $100, right? Yeah. Well, the guy in Hyderabad isn't going to get you the result. You're going to think it sucks because you're not monitoring, you're not focusing, right? He's not working for you. Sorry, Rajesh, I didn't mean to, no disrespect to people in India or to people in Hyderabad. I forgot that you live in Hyderabad. My apologies, Rajesh. But this happens all the time. But if you actually articulate the value proposition of what it takes to get it done, then people will spend the money. They go, oh my God, that's a lot, right? Facebook made 460 changes last year to its ad management platform. 460 changes. Right now, if you don't know how to do Facebook ads, right, and by the way, the management platform itself in the last 12 months has changed over 100 times inside the management platform. The algorithm changes every freaking week, right? How many people, those who I can see on the tile, just put your hand up. How many people have had an ad, their management account banned? Any experience? Just type in one if you've had your Facebook ad account shut down in the last 6 months. Just type in one. I've had my ad account shut down 7 times in the last 6 months. Don's had an ad account shut down, right? I've had clients' ad accounts shut down. I've had heaps of clients who've lost their ad accounts. Yeah, a few people doing there, right? If you're not getting your account shut down, you're not doing it right. Right now. Because right now, I was on a call with one of our Agency Unleashed people, and they said, I haven't run an ad in ages and my account got shut down. Like, I'm not running an ad, but they shut my account down, right? So Facebook is all over the place. Now, admittedly, he got his account back, right, very quickly. But Facebook was all over, I heard a lot about it, yeah, right? It happens all the time. So if you're, what happens, like if you're managing your ad account on your own personal ad account, like your client is managing your ad account, and what happens if it's shut down? What are you going to do, right? All of a sudden, all your leads dry up, everything stops. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters, right? Sorry, that was a joke, right? But the thing is, and that's the thing. So and the market doesn't. And the market doesn't, right? So this is where you have to articulate the value, right? We say to people, like we actually use an outsourced resource partner to manage our accounts. We tell them right up front, we have one of the best ad managers on the planet. We spend 15 grand a month just for him to look at your campaigns to make sure they're running at an optimum level. Plus, we have our internal team working on that as well, right? And so they know that you're actually getting it done. Yeah. Do the numbers from Gary go in the opportunity cost info you show in the previous slide? You can use the numbers in Gary to show the opportunity cost. Gary just shows you conversion numbers based on ad spend, cost per action. It gives people just a rough idea of how much money they should be spending on an ad campaign to make it profitable, right? So certain markets for a cost per action, it might cost $100 for a cost per action. And in their head, cost per action, $100, wow, that's a lot, right? So to get, to end up with one appointment, they might have to spend, $1,000 or $1,500 to get one appointment. This is why people underestimate ad costs on things like solar, personal injury, leads, all that sort of stuff. You've really got to look at most people just don't spend enough. Why is nobody talking about the Pixel? The Pixel will go away next year. I'm already studying the alternative. I don't know, Denise. I know a lot of people do. We talk about pixels. When we talk pixels, we're getting a little bit technical. But pixels are there purely to help you with tracking and, more importantly, with retargeting and remarketing. That's where your pixels come into place. But yes, at the end of the day, what we're showing you here is to be pragmatic, right? So very quickly, let me walk you through the levels of lead generation and some of the things you need to take into consideration. So just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. I can see the screen. Awesome. All right, so let's get into the no-brainer of opportunity costs. We've just covered this ground. So client engagement levels. There are a number of levels of client engagement and where you go to get your customers, especially in the agency world, right? The first level of engagement, things like networking, door-to-door, account-based marketing, websites, direct mail, referral, aggregated directories, right? These are the first level or the first line of leads in the marketplace. So, and the other part of this, and some of the things I'll put in here, your familiar list, friends, family, associates, alumni, acquaintances, colleagues, those sorts of people, they're also in this mix. They're part of that referral mix in this process. So the front line, when most people are kind of starting out, this is where they get their first leads. This is where they get their first clients, is in this area here, right? So that's level one. And right now, the fastest way to go and get a client is do the referral piece, right? Who do you know who needs help with this? I'm helping people do this, letting people know that you're in business, letting people know that you can help them with a result. That's what you want to be doing, and that's at level one, right? Well, level two is, the Facebook. Now, this is all physical activity. This is not paid, right? This is not paid traffic. This is activity. So things like Facebook, LinkedIn, blogging, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, email marketing, right? We've got cold email as part of a reach in here. These are all level two activities, and we have to spend a fair amount of time, unless we're picking the right sort of audiences, we're going to be spending a fair amount of time doing these sorts of things, but we're not actually, there's no physical cost other than our time costs. In actual fact, this can be really expensive. This can be really expensive as level two. So level two, lead acquisition or client acquisition, are all the type of socials, the online things you're doing, Insta, all that sort of stuff, TikTok, depending on who your audience is and where your market is, that's where you're going to spend your time. If your market's on Facebook, you're going to spend market on Facebook. If you're going to spend on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is the largest business database on the planet. Right now, it is being abused, right, by all of us marketers, because we are just going in there and we're trying to get married. And so what's happening is the efficacy of LinkedIn is dropping because of the nature or the ability of how people are actually approaching people in the marketplace. People are just really aggressive. And LinkedIn, by the way, is banning more accounts than they've ever banned before since coronavirus started. LinkedIn is shutting down people's accounts for doing silly things left, right, and center, and they've been closing more accounts than ever in the middle of coronavirus, right? It's huge, right? You do not want to lose your LinkedIn account. It will take you a bit to get it back, right? To establish your credibility and authority in the market. But it is the best business database on the planet. And Sales Navigator, if you're not using Sales Navigator, then I highly recommend that you pay the $97 a month, activate Sales Navigator. I would then go and start connecting. But the way I would connect is there's a person in LinkedIn called a LinkedIn Open Networker, and they designate themselves as a lion. So if you went into Sales Navigator and you typed in lion or LinkedIn Open Networker as a search term, there would be people that would be connected to your audience in your connections that have that designated designator. What you want to do is you want to connect with as many lions as possible. Let's say 50 to 100 lions. Now, the lions are not your clients. They're not your prospects. It's not why you're connecting with lions. The reason you're connecting with lions is to actually increase the second and third degree connections. If they're the first degree, their first degree are your second degree. Their second degree are your third degree connections. So the more lions actually tend to have the largest networks. So in LinkedIn, an average line will have about 5,000 frontline or first degree connections, right? If that's the case, like 5,000 first degree connections, on the other end, I'll have tens of thousands of second degree, tens of thousands of second degree. So in LinkedIn, when you're using Sales Navigator, connect with a whole bunch of lines. And then what you want to do is then you start searching for your criteria. You want to go into LinkedIn and you want to start searching decision maker, what's the title role? Founder, owner, managing director, CEO, principal, managing partner. The decision maker is the first thing you want to search for, right? The second thing you want to search for is niche, right? Niche. What niche are you targeting? So you're dealing with decision maker, then niche. The third thing is location. Where do you want to target? All of America, a particular city, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, Valdesto, whatever locations you're looking for. So target location, right? So we've got decision maker, moniker, the location, right? The niche, right? And then destination. So sorry, we've got location, niche, decision-making principle. Now, company, size of company. If you want to deal with companies that are 5 million plus, you're looking for 20 or more employees. LinkedIn allows you to search 10 or more or 50 or more. So if you just select 50 or more, right, it's only going to come up with companies that have 50 or more employees. If you've got 50 or more employees, your salary cap on a 50 more employee company is going to be around between $1 and $2 million, $2.5 million, right? So that's a company, right? If you've got a company that's doing 1 to 2.5 million in salary caps, then you've got a company that's generating at least $5 to $10 million in revenue, right? So these are the companies you want to work with, right? So you're choosing the size of company based on the number of employees, right? Then what you want to do is you want to even perhaps drill down into the niches. Maybe you want to go associations. Maybe you want to go, you want to start doing some predicators, but then you want to hit search. Now, when you hit search, there's going to be a couple of tabs. And so the tab that is on the left-hand side, the first tab, gives you the total number of people and connections in LinkedIn up to 3 degrees, right? Once you've done that search. So target market, niche, all those people, 50 plus employees, that's the big list. And the big list is going to be thousands of people. There might, depending on how big your search volume is, that could be tens of thousands. That could be 100,000 people. The challenge with that is nobody here, not even me, can handle 10,000 leads. How am I going to go and contact 10,000 leads? Well, it's going to take me forever. Or I'm going to have to hire a pretty big team to be able to do that, to leverage that and put that into place, right? So what I'm looking for is 4 tabs over. Remember, we're looking for the people that want to do business, that are interested in marketing and that sort of stuff. 4 tabs over, there's this tab that says posted in LinkedIn in the last 30 days. They posted in LinkedIn in the last 30 days. That means they've been on the LinkedIn account. Anybody posting in LinkedIn in the last 30 days is they're looking for clients. The only reason you would put articles and posts and information or value on LinkedIn in a 30-day period is you're looking for customers. So if you're in the business of helping people generate customers, then you want to talk to the people who are looking for customers. Now, here's a cool thing about that list. So now that list might be down to about 1,000 people. Well, you can manage 1,000 people, right? You can manage 1,000 people who are interested in marketing, right? Because you're interested in helping people generate clients, and you're in marketing, you can help those clients. So what you do is you use software like AnyLeads, or there's a whole bunch of other software you can buy. Seismic is another one that you can use. You subscribe to that software, and then what it allows you to do is allows you to take the URL out of LinkedIn, where that designator is, where that tab is, take the URL, and it'll scrape all the names, the people, the emails. It'll scrape that into the service. And then what it will do is it'll actually clean up. It'll green light the emails. So it'll clean up the emails. So now you've got a solid list of people in an Excel spreadsheet. Now you don't need to do connections. You don't need to go and play the game of let's get to know each other. Can we connect? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Or that process takes too long. If you're going to play that game, generally you're going to be connecting with 75 people a day on average. Out of 75 people, maybe 7 to 10 people are going to respond to you within a 30-day period. So you've got to base it on volume. It normally takes you to get appointments from LinkedIn. If you follow a cadence, it's going to take you between 6 weeks to 8 weeks to get between 5 and 10 appointments. After the 8-week period, the momentum kicks in, then you'll probably generate between 10 and 20 appointments per month. But you need to improve your ability to communicate. The way that I've just shown you is you literally just extract the leads straight out of LinkedIn, and now you can go direct, right? Now you can go direct in that process. So that's an example of level 2. That's time, that's not money, right? Money, a subscription here or there, you can get thousands of leads, qualified leads, right? Using strategies that I've just shared, right? Level 3 is paid advertising, Now, one thing that I would say to all of you here is if you've got 3 to 5 clients, take 10% of your revenue and start running ads for yourself. Start running lead ads for yourself. Because if you're advertising is one of the fast ways to get appointments. All of us here, we all need appointments, right? We're all asking the question, let's do leads. We all need appointments. So the fastest way to get appointments is run ads, right? And with ads, you want to run a lead ad. You don't want to run, if you can run, so there's heaps of people out there that advocate this. I do advocate this, but it takes time. A lot of people run ads to a VSL, right? Video sales letter, right? So if you're running an ad to a video sales letter, well, you got to build the video sales, the actual video sales letter, right? You got to do the video, you got to do the production, you got to create the story, you got to do the design, you got to do the whole thing to sell and pitch on a sales letter, right? So people are going to opt in, watch a video, and then from that video, you're going to say, book an appointment. Now, to dial that in, so one of my champions, Nick, we did this strategy when he says, great, I want to leverage, we're going to do a webinar, we're going to do an automated video sales letter to generate leads to do this. Well, it took him 8 weeks to perfect, to be able to launch the video sales letter. It took 8 weeks. Now, admittedly, he made 8 sales in that month, but it took 8 weeks to dial that in. So whilst he was dialing that in, he still had to go and generate leads, right? So lead ads are cheaper in Facebook than running other types of advertising. If you're running ads to funnels, then obviously there's going to be some mitigations in how much that costs and what that is. But just to give you perspective on the level 3 of lead gen, and this is why it works. So with lead ads, as long as you're following up, what you want to do is you want to keep the forms very simple. You want to look at your target audience. You want to have an ad. You want to get to a place where you have an ad converting. And what you're looking at doing is you're roughly going to be spending between, at the low end, about $100 per appointment. But on average, you're probably going to spend about $150 to $200 for an appointment, right, on Facebook ads. You're roughly going to spend between $150 and $200 for an actual qualified appointment, right? Now, if your conversion rate is 1 in 5, that you close a sale, so every 5th person you talk to an appointment, you close a deal, that means it's roughly going to cost you between $1,500 or average about $1,500, between $800 and $1,500 to make one sale. Now, if one sale is worth 10 grand, like $2 grand a month, 6 grand for 3 months, right? If you paid $1,500 for that, make 6 grand, that's a pretty good deal, good return on investment, right? If you're selling $20,000, $2,000 a month in service fees, $24,000. The question is, would you spend $1,500 to make a $24,000 sale? No brainer, all day, every day, all day. So advertising is leverage, right? Paid traffic is leverage. It's faster, right? It's not that expensive, but the key here is you want to dial it in. Now, here's the thing I say, if you're selling Facebook ads, well, you should be advertising on Facebook. If you're not using Facebook to generate ads, generate leads, then what are you doing selling leads to Facebook for other people, right? Same with AdWords. If you're running AdWords campaigns, you can run really cheap, inexpensive ads on AdWords and generate leads, right? I know somebody that spends, I think they spend about $600 a month on AdWords, and they get 3 clients out of it every month. 3 clients out of a $600 ad spend on AdWords. The average client is spending 12 grand. So what's that? $36,000 for $600. No brainer, right? So level 3 is paid advertising. You want to take 5 to 10% of your revenue and throw it in ads. If you're not running ads, you're going to do it the hard way. Then you have to do volume play on cold email, cold calling, a whole bunch of, you got to look at other opportunities. You're going to run webinars, all that sort of stuff. Paid traffic is a very fast way to generate leads for your agency business. So level 4, associations, professional networks, trade show, workshops, seminars, and conferences. If you want clients, this is where the money is, right? I've got a couple of people asking questions here. chat. Okay, lead leaper is really good. Any leads is best, but gives us personal. Any leads is best, but gives us personal emails. Yeah, any leads does give personal emails. Do you outsource your client acquisition on level 3? No, I would rather do it internally. I have paid level 3, paid Octavio for level 3 many, many times. And anytime I go externally, the results are kind of, right? But anytime we do it internally, our results tend to be better. So I'd rather do it in-house. Now, that's not to say I have outsourced paid traffic to other providers, and we've made money from it, and it's worked. You've just got to go and work with people who are really good at what they do. And you've got to be willing to invest the right kind of money with people who understand the strategy, and you've got to be willing to scale, right? You've got to be willing to scale. You can't be afraid to go and spend 10, 20, 30,000 a month in ads. You can't, if you're afraid to do that, you're going to limit your growth, right? On average, if you really want to pick up, 4 to 5 clients, 3 to 5 clients a month, you're probably looking at about a $5,000 a month ad spend. 3 to 5 clients a month, about $5 grand a month ad spend. Depending on your audience, targeting, all that sort of stuff, you can reduce the cost. There's a whole bunch of ways you can do that. But ultimately, yeah, I still recommend. Would you still recommend associations? Absolutely, Howard Tiano. That is this. Associations are licensed to print money because associations are very relevant from multiple angles. One, they're lobby groups to grow. So for those of you who don't understand what associations are, every professional group in the world has a governing body that either accredits licensing or they, and I say professional, right? So even in the advertising world, right? There's the Advertising Association, there's Direct Marketing Association, there's the Retail, Online Retail Association. There's a whole bunch of associations that are affiliated with businesses. Plumbers Association, Builders Association, Renovators Association, Plastic Surgeons Association. Some groups, some business groups like the Plastic Surgeons, they have 7 different associations, 7. Now, why are associations really cool? Well, associations designate a niche. If you want to find out where your customers hang out, the first thing I would find out is what association do they belong to, right? And if they do belong to an association, how big is it? How many members does it have, right? If you look at the accounting fraternity, the CPA in the United States has 700,000 members. 700,000 members. It represents tens of thousands of accounting practices, right? In the United States alone, they're massive. Certain chapters, some of the Texas chapter, I believe, has, what's the Texas chapter? Texas chapter, I believe, has about, what's that? I think they have about 200,000 members in the Texas chapter. That's huge. That's just one group. That's the CPAs, right? So here's the thing. Associations are very cool because it's a niche. Professional networks, very cool because it's actually, you're targeted, right? Now, one thing that I will do and I share, and I love this group, is trade shows. Because right now, trade shows, you can't do trade shows anymore. You can't go and go to a trade show anymore at the moment because of COVID, right? So all these companies, there's a good portion of companies around the world that relied heavily on their market for trade shows, and they would spend millions of dollars on trade show marketing. Well, this year, they can't do that. They can't spend their millions on trade show. So where else are they going to spend their money? How do they go and get customers? They can't go to a trade show. What are they going to do? They've got to go direct. So right now, there should have been a light bulb just go off for everybody here, right? With regard to trade shows, yeah? There should have been a light bulb, right? Because trade shows are directory listings online. You can go and pick any association that held a major event in the last 5 years. Go and look at their trade show directory. You can open up the directory and then you can actually see all the registrants. It'll give you the names of the companies, it'll give you phone numbers, it'll give you websites. In some cases, it'll give you the name of the managing director, the founder of the company, and all these companies spend money on marketing, right? Associations, professional networks, and trade shows are massive, right? Workshop seminars can't go to. In the future, they will come back, right? Venues in Australia are opening up. People are going back. I saw where I live in the convention center, there are socially distanced events based on square footage in the convention center. So they're still doing seminars and conferences now. That's starting to come back where I live, right? And I know people are still doing events in the United States, in certain parts of the United States, right? Understand that this area is a very large leverage playing area. If you are really good at a niche and you want clients in one niche, then join the association, because if you join the association, you get access to the entire list. You get a lead list that's perfect because you get the names and phone numbers and the members. You see who the members are. That's cool. Now, if you're in the medical space and you want to work with plastic surgeons, a lot of people like plastic surgeons as a strategy. There's this website. It's called the American Society of Plastic Surgeons.org, right? Go to the website and you can pick in New York City and you can say rhinoplasty. And what it'll do is in the finder, it'll give you, apparently in New York City, there are 189 plastic surgeons that specialize just in New York on rhinoplasty, 189 of them. And it gives you the name of the doctor, gives you the practice where the doctor practices, it gives you the website of where the practice is. So you got connections, you got a list of people. That's why I love associations. Associations are one of the best places to find clients, and trade show directories tell me that clients are going to be spending at the low end in a trade show directory. Somebody's going to spend between $20,000 and $40,000. I go to the CES shows every year in Las Vegas. Businesses spend millions of dollars to be at a trade show for 4 days, right? 270,000 people descend on Las Vegas for 4 days for the Consumer Electronics Show. Every major brand in the world is represented at that show. Every product category is represented at that show. Literally billions of dollars worth of business is written up. I have taken some of my consulting champions to Vegas, and we've hung out at this show and went and picked up $300,000-$400,000 worth of clients in 4 days, right? Associations are a great place to pick up clients, and trade show is also a great place to pick up clients. Now, any questions? I'm just going to stop share for a second. Any questions about what I've shared? I've been using Facebook lead form with a budget of $20 a day, running 3 ad sets, but not getting leads at all. My market is regenerative. That's because your market's too small, Edward. It is too small. That's why you're not getting them. The Medical Doctor Regenerative Association, a very poor response. Any idea where I might go or might be going wrong? Well, unless I see the ads, Edwin, unless I see your targeting and your audience targeting, unless I see the offer that you're using to convert, it's really hard for me to comment or give you advice on that campaign. We would have to break down the strategy, look at the actions, look at the targeting, the bidding. Maybe not, for that volume, I would say $20 a day might not be enough money to target that audience. I'm not sure. You'd have to be doing some testing. But in the market, man, you're talking about 3,000 people, Edward. There's not a lot of practices for regenerative medicine in the United States. It's not big enough an audience. So to run Facebook ads to a small audience, you might have to, one of the things you might take into consideration is you might have to increase your ad spend. $20 a day is not enough. Like $20 a day, man, you might not even, are you getting any clicks for $20 a day? You are? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are getting clicks, not getting conversion.
Yeah, not getting conversion. Okay. So then to me, I'd be looking at what the offer is, what are you actually offering, how are you offering it. But I personally, for that market, I wouldn't be doing Facebook ads for regenerative. I would do Facebook ads for chiropractors, but I wouldn't be doing Facebook ads for regenerative medicine. It's too small. I think that's one of the problems. It's too small a market. The volume is not there, right? And it's a real, it's a growing market, but there are people who are really good at this market who are already in there, right? But they're not the best. They're not the best clients to work with. They tend to chop and change their marketing people all the time because they tend to be. And Facebook, by the way, shuts down a lot of accounts when it comes to this type of marketing as well. So, you've got to be. I think you've got to either change up the offer or you've got to increase the ad spend to do that. But without actually going through the analytics and seeing what's going on, and without actually doing a little bit of homework on what they're looking for in terms of the offer, that might be a bit difficult to make a comment on that. There's too many moving parts that you need to make an assessment on. And what I'd be trying to do is I'd be trying to get a 1% conversion per every 1,000 impressions, a 1% conversion for the cost per click, not cost per action, or cost per click, I want to see at least a 1% conversion. If I've got a 1% conversion, right, then your problem is enough audience. So I don't think you're actually being seen by enough people to get the traction that you need. I think that's where the disconnect is. Yeah. So yeah, Facebook advertising is very, very tricky in small markets. Yeah. Would association be good just jumping into a new niche? Absolutely. If you so I'm going to answer that question properly, Howard. If you want to serve a market and you know you can help a market and you know that a particular niche will get a result from what you do, then hell yeah, if they're all in an association, they're really easy to find, they're really easy to do business with, they're really easy to connect with. And an investment in association is normally between, you're looking at an investment of
300 to 500.
You're looking at an investment of about $500, some of them $300 up to $1,500, right? The bigger associations, the ones that have bigger bang for buck, you pay up to $3,000 to be a member, right? I was a member of an association that cost me. This was the Australian Institute of Company Directors, right? This association, the membership was $400 a year. I would sit at tables. I would actually on purpose go to lunch. The only reason I joined this organization was just to go to the lunch once a month around the country, right? Because the table that I'd be sitting at would be chairmen of boards that would be responsible for companies that are turning over billions of dollars in revenue. You're talking to the biggest decision makers in the country for $460 membership and $60 to go to lunch. No brainer, right? Like one connection. That's how my market or my niche was banking organizations. We work for banks. So company directors or board of directors of banking groups, there's heaps of them, right? Where do they belong? They all hang out, right? So hang out where they hang out. That's why I love associations. So if you want to dive into a niche, then also, by the way, and thanks for asking this question, Howard, if you want to dive into a niche, associations also have non-member pricing. So if you want to go to an event or you want to go to a networking thing or you want to go an online, they have online, they got paid or free. If you're a member, you go free. If you're not a member, you go paid, right? The fee is nominal. Like I've gone to association functions where the difference is $20, right? A member pays 60 and I'm paying 80. Who cares? I just need one connection that's going to make me, could make me $100,000. I'll pay $80 all day long to make those connections, right? I've flown halfway around the world to make those connections at associations and not been a member. I flew to Chicago to go to the international. I was developing software in the self-storage industry. I flew to Chicago all the way from Australia, right? Hotel, conference. It was like $15,000 to attend that conference. That made 5 deals out of that conference. Pulled in 300 grand for a 15 grand investment. Crazy, right? So this thing.
I found some of the associations don't give out the email addresses of their members because they don't want other members or vendor members spamming the members.
I don't need their email. I don't need their email addresses from their contacts in their thing. I just need to know who the contact is. I'll find the email address. That's easy.
Yeah.
I don't need to buy the list. I can get if I'm a member, it gives me access. If I've got access, then I'll go find your email. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
Finding emails is easy. But download, if I'm thinking of the easy path to download, I couldn't care less. If they're there, they're not. If I've got a list, if I've got managing directors and I know what the companies are, who the big players are, who the award winners are, who are the ones that are spending money, who are the ones that are visible, that's all I need. I need that list, that shortcut to pay $600 or $300 to grab that list. That's a no-brainer, right? But I would be smart about it. I would build a relationship within that market, like any market, right? Because you don't need a lot of clients to do really well. You don't need a lot of clients in an association to do very well. 10, 20 clients in an association, you're making $1 million, depending on what you're charging, right? So yes, it is a market to go to. Scraper or Fiverr. Yes, Scrape or Fiverr, doesn't matter, Rajesh, wherever you go. Those are the ones harder to get to show to appointments, those professional surgeons, lawyers. Yes, you're going to spend money to get those guys on the call, but I know some pretty good marketers that do a very good job of that. Any other questions? Any takeaways so far? Good. All right. We're going to go to, we're on the home stretch, looking at my time. LinkedIn is overabused. It is by those that abuse it, but it's still the best business database on the planet, Rajesh. Still the biggest and the best database on the planet. But I can take, see, here's the thing, right? This is where people really get this wrong. You don't need a lot of clients to do well in this business. If your average sales, let's say your average sales 3 to 5 grand, if you know your sweet spot, you're selling a service at 3 to 5 grand, right? Well, to make 100 grand, you need 3 clients, right? 36,000 a year, that's $108,000, right? 100 grand, 3 clients, 3. You need 27 clients, 27, right? To generate $84,000 a month of recurring revenue at 3 grand a month per client. 27. If you're doing 5 grand a month, you only need 20 clients, right? 20 clients to make $1 million worth of revenue. It's not a lot of money, right? And by the way, it's not a lot of clients. It's not a lot of clients, right? So we're in a situation with Breakthrough. We've got 430 clients. 430 clients. That's a lot of clients. Now you're talking some very, very serious business, considering the average client is spending $5,000 to $8,000 a month with us, right? If you multiply those numbers, do the numbers, right? But to do well, you don't need a lot. You only need, 10 to 15 clients. You're making more than $500,000 worth of revenue at $3K per month. That's not a lot of clients. It's like 1 client a month, right? That's the thing. People have got these pie in the sky ideas. They've got to work with so many people to generate the revenue. You don't have to work with a lot of clients at all. I know people that are happy working with 9 clients, making 300 grand a year, and everything's kosher, right? They pay out $100,000 in costs and fees. They pay out another 50 grand in taxes, and they keep 70 grand for themselves net income. Well, if you're making 170 grand a year net income privately, it's not too bad. You can live a relatively okay lifestyle for that in most parts of the world, right? But if you want to build a business, understand that it doesn't take much. It takes consistency. It takes knowing what you need to know to make it work. It takes the understanding of your client base. If you understand who your clients are and you understand your offer, you just replicate the offer, right? The idea is to scale, right? That's the key. But this is the danger. We get caught up in our work. To give you perspective, if you want to build the fastest person that I know that I've worked with that built $1 million business was less than 6 months. From scratch to $1 million, less than 6 months. On average, if you're starting from scratch and you're kind of learning your way through, if you really get smart about this, it'll take you about 1.5 years on average to do that. About 18 months to do that, right? Go 0 to $1 million, about 18 months. So it's not very long, right? Normally what I find, it takes 2 years in this industry for people to take their head out of their backside, right? And actually start thinking like a business owner, right? Not like a job, not like a practitioner. Normally it's 2 years of mucking around. If I look at some of the people that I know that have built some really big businesses, they'll say exactly the same thing. It takes them roughly 1.5 to 2 years to kind of get their feet to figure it out. They'll make some money. They'll pick up 100, 200 grand. They'll make some money along the way, but it roughly takes them a couple of years to kind of figure this whole thing out, to get past their head and be able to go and really push for this. But you don't have to wait that long, right? You don't have to wait that long. You could do it in 6 months. I had a friend of mine, Jeff, who just did it in 6 months. 27 clients, 3 grand a month. It took him 6 months. He would run $4,000 a month in ad spend, targeted contractor market, 27 clients at 3 grand a month. That's $1 million run rate. He did it in less than 6 months. From scratch. Now, Jeff knew what he was doing, right? But he'd never scaled before. So for the first time, he thought, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to go. He made a decision. And that's the difference. That's the thing. All it is a decision. It's a decision to actually get it done, right? It's nothing else. When Jeff decided, said, look, I'm going to go and build $1 million agency. Great. 5, 6 months later, build $1 million agency. Because he made that decision. He knew it was going to cost him a couple of $100 grand to run $1 million agency, right? But it only took him 5 months to get to a run rate of $84,000. And his average sale of Facebook ad to the contractor market was 3 grand a month. So what's that? Yeah, 27 clients. And he was counting down. He was so focused on hitting the objective, he was literally counting down. Great, I've got 27 clients. We just got to $84,000 a month. Hoorah, right? So this is the thing that you need to take into consideration. Yeah. Gross, Steve, gross. Net, $1 million net. You've got to be doing at least 4 million in our world to keep a million net. You've got to be doing 4 to 5 million to keep a million net profit, net. That's after taxes. Oh, by the way, it also depends on what state you live in, right? Like if you live in Delaware or places like that, then obviously the numbers are going to be a little bit different. But if you live in California or on the East Coast, or if you live in Florida, in California, you're going to pay half your money to Uncle Sam and the state. Yeah. So understand that it depends on where you live. So yeah, Steve, if you want net numbers, then you're going to have to build a much bigger business for those types of net numbers. So that's great. The numbers I'm quoting are gross. The numbers, the way they work out, should be sitting around the 30. So 70% should be gross profit, 30% should be cost, including your salary. So 30% of the money should be cost, including your salary, and 70% should be gross profit. By the time you take out 10% for marketing, you're going to be left with roughly 63%. 63% you're going to pay taxes. Then you're going to be left with about 40%, and there's your and whatever other incidentals that you have. So you should be able to take out of $1 million business about 250,000 cash a year out of $1 million, clean net. That's not including your salary. That doesn't include your salary. That's 250K net profit, net after all expenses and taxes, clean takeout. That's what you want to be aiming for out of $1 million revenue in our business. That's what it should be. The reason why most people don't do that is they don't charge enough. They're not pulling those kind of numbers. They're not charging enough. Yeah. The margins are wrong, or you live in the wrong state. You know, the numbers need to be different if you're living in the wrong state, the right state. So let's move on. We have another level of lead gen, which is really powerful. Sorry. So we're going to hit level 5 in the matrix. Level 5. I'm just hoping that my screen is catching up with me to share my slides. It's coming. All right, cool. All right, so so level 5 is strategic alliance, channel partners, cooperatives, and this is one that a lot of people don't realize, but social causes. Social causes attract a lot of money. They attract a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses are involved in social causes. So it's a very, very good way to meet big companies, right? Social causes. So I'm not going to talk about social causes. I'm going to talk more about channel partners and strategic alliances. A good strategic alliance, like a really good one, and I'll explain what this means. A good strategic alliance could easily generate $1 million worth of revenue for you. Just one strategic alliance can generate $1 million revenue for your agency, right? So who are strategic alliances? Strategic alliances are other businesses that serve the same market, right? So other businesses that actually serve or who are big players, SaaS companies, product providers, service-based, advisory, all those sorts of businesses are businesses that are similar to you. They're not like you, they're not in the same business, but they serve the same market. A channel partner delivers a product category or a service category, and they manage a client group. A channel partner is somebody who delivers, right, to one market, right, or serves a market, and you build a relationship. So give an example of this. Over at our PT agency, we had several channel partners. In fact, we had some of our competition was a channel partner for our business, right? Some of our competition were a channel partner. So we work with a company that provide lasers for laser therapy, laser muscle treatment therapy machine. That company worked in sports medicine, in rehabilitation, in treatment. And they used to sell these lasers for, I think the commercial lasers were like $60,000 or $100,000 or more, right? So big money. So not every physical therapy practice is going to go spend 100 grand on laser equipment. Generally, you tend to get practices that are fairly large that will invest in that level. So who do we want to work with? We want to work with practices that have large client bases that are larger. So it would make sense that we would build a symbiotic relationship with a company that provides lasers. So we would sit there and say, hey, you want, we know how to get customers or get clients for your therapy, for your clinics. What if we actually helped you or put some training for you to help them sell more care or more revenue from your lasers, right? What if we got together in partnership as a strategic license, we can provide some training, and then you can introduce us to companies where we can introduce our marketing. Well, this one channel partner is worth more than $10 million worth of revenue to our business. One channel partner, $10 million worth of revenue to our business, because they refer really good quality customers to us. And we refer really good quality clients to them. We have a strategic alliance partnership. We share, we actually charge them for referrals, which is even sweeter, right? But we don't pay them for referrals, but we charge them for referrals, right, to us. So because we're really good at the marketing side of things, we're able to help them to leverage their sales. They generated $35 million worth of sales out of our strategic alliance partnership, which is pretty cool. But we're symbiotic, so we refer clients to each other, and we spend time looking at ways to improve our service. So we provide training and we provide support. They deliver our training, or they share what we do with their audience, and then their clients come on board and buy us for our marketing. It's pretty simple. Now, at our level, we deal with a lot of PT, a lot of physical therapy practices. We sit and say, hey, we've got to deal with this particular company. We know that we've got a funnel where you can actually generate extra revenue for your practice if you want to. I would highly recommend that you can invest in their service, and with that, you can create a new profit center. So we would share or cross-pollinate customers with each other. So strategic alliance is a really powerful way to leverage business. And by the way, today, more businesses are actually open to partnership than ever before. Right now, most businesses are open to, or businesses that serve the market are very much open to partnerships. So what do you have you can add value with? So I'll give you a couple of examples. We have one of our champions who has a relationship with an association in manufacturing, right? And what they do is once a month, the association pays them £1,500 a month to do a webinar to train on some form of digital marketing for the manufacturing industry. So it's a 1-hour webinar they get paid for every month to do that, paid for leads, right? And they deliver it. Now, at the end of that, they're running an agency, right? This is one of our members. They're running an agency. They pick up 5 to 8 clients every time they run a webinar for an association. So that's the strategic alliance that they have with that association. They're getting paid to deliver value. That value is then packaged up, branded, put inside the association's portal, members portal, and all the members have access to it. Now, 50 people will turn up every month to those trainings, 50 people. Out of those 50 people, people ask questions. Hey, because they specialize in doing marketing for these associations, right? So they help them out, in that process. So strategic alliance is one of the fastest ways that you can actually generate access to lots of clients. You can run virtual events with strategic alliance. You can run virtual trade shows. We have one of our champions is running a virtual trade show, and the partners are paying up to $100,000 for sponsorship to be part of a virtual trade show, right? So strategic alliances, cooperatives, these are areas, or channel partners are areas where you can leverage. How do you add value? If you've got a skill and you know that you can deliver the outcome, then how do you add value to that person? Centers of influence, people who are consultants to industries are perfect strategic alliance partners. So what I generally do is I'll find a center of influence or an influencer in a market through an association, and generally, people, authors, consultants, people who are providing service providers or productized service. I'll look for those people in the market, and I'll reach out to them and help them out with their marketing. Say, hey, I like what you do. You're an expert in the market. We're in this field as well. I noticed a couple of things you need to be paying attention to. I'd love to be able to help you out with your marketing. We reach out and we help them out with their marketing. And then we look at a way and say, hey, how can we work together to open the door to perhaps helping clients that you serve, because they all need better marketing. So I'll give you an example. Mike, one of my champions. Mike, I said, go and find an influencer in the dental market. I said, the hardest, dental market's a tough market. doctors are tough to go to. You're going to break your heart trying to get these guys on an appointment. But if you go and find a center of influence or a strategic alliance out there in the market to work with, right, then they may open the door faster because they've already got a relationship. So he found a person who specialized in practice management consulting, very well-known person, influencer in the dental market, and sat there and just reached out and said, hey, I really want to kind of understand, dental practices and how they, think about marketing, what they think about developing their business. And so they struck up a conversation. And from that conversation, Mike noticed that this influencer needed a little bit of help with their website and with their own funnel, right? So he made an offer, said, look, because you've been kind of time, I'll do a deal with you. I'll rebrand and create a site for you. He didn't do it for free. I think he charged about $5,000 to redo the website, and he had the website up and running in roughly about 4 or 5 weeks' time. Made it look very professional. It was really good. The guy was getting lots of comments, and he says, look, we specialize in search engine optimization. We do Facebook ads. These are the two services we provide. We're not really in the business of building websites, but I just wanted to build this for you to show you, how that funnels, right, running campaigns and that sort of stuff. Your branding, your positioning, your functionality, really important. Now, he said, you know what? I get all my guys, they always ask me, who do you know who can help us with Facebook ads and SEO and with marketing online? He said, every time we go to market, they always ask. I said, well, why don't we strike up a relationship with each other where I'm happy to do, we can do rev share, we can do a percentage per sale for introduction, but you have to be transparent and let people know that you are getting paid for the introduction. So they worked out a deal, right? So on average, Mike's average client was going to invest, I think his average sale was $5,000. So $5,000 a month is management fee, $60,000. He struck a deal where he says, well, I can't take cash because that's not legal, but you can support charity, right? You can support a charity that I'm heavily involved in and part of. And so any client we deliver to you, you can actually make a donation to the charity. That would even be great, even better, right? So this is what the alliance partner did. The alliance partner incorporated Mike's stuff in every presentation he did. He said, this is how we manage a practice, but one of the core areas you need to focus on is developing patient revenue. And I have this guy, Mike, who's amazing, worked with me, done some cool stuff. He's the guy you need to speak to. I'm going to buy you an hour of his time to show you what you need to do to make this happen. Now, Mike generated more than $1 million worth of revenue out of this one alliance, right? Purely by adding value. And all this person does is has one slide in their presentation and says, this is Mike. Meet Mike. One thing you desperately need in your dental practice is to have somebody who can manage your ability to market and generate patients. Mike is my guy, right? So every referral is a hot referral. The conversion rate, 80%. At strategic alliance level, they already have a relationship. In our strategic alliances that we have a relationship with, we get high conversion rates, much higher conversion rates, because it's almost like having a recommendation or an endorsement or referral. And the other thing is you don't have to pay for the privilege. Many of the strategic alliances that I've developed, we've never had to pay for referrals at all. People are happy to refer because they want their clients or they want their people to get value from the marketplace. So I remember earlier on I said that I was going to share a bonus with you. I'm going to do this one more time. So tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST, by the way, if you want to go, feel free to go. But if you want to hang out with me for about 20 minutes, I'd love for you to hang out, right? So I want to, for those who are really serious about scaling, growing, or want some of my help, I'm here to help you. And you can hang out with me. If you've had enough for the day, then I'd highly recommend you jump off and you're going to miss out on some really cool stuff. So here's the thing. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. PST, so Friday the 20th in the United States, 5 p.m. PST. Live with me. What I really want to do is I want to kind of just do a fast agency client roadmap. I want to map out, I want to break this down with you for those who want to join me live. This is something that I wasn't going to share, but I am going to do this. I am going to do this, right? So tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST, I'm just going to get really pragmatic with you. And what I mean by that is I just want to go and kind of cut through the trees and say, great, what is the path and the trajectory to a client as quickly as possible? What is the path? What are our options? Whether you're starting out, whether you've got clients, whether you're an agency, what are some of the things that we can do right now to build the momentum to generate clients fast? So tomorrow live, if you're going to join me, I'm just going to stop sharing. If you are going to join me, and I just want to. By the way, if you're going to join me tomorrow, because it's not for everybody, not everybody wants customers, surprising enough. But if you are going to, one yes. And those who are on Facebook, and it's good to see everybody here. If you want to join me tomorrow, so tomorrow I'm going to do fast action, like fast acquisition. I'm going to look at where we can actually go and engage quickly to generate clients. That's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, right? This is a conversation that I want to have more with you in working together, right? So tomorrow, I'm just going to do a session. It's only going to be maybe 90 minutes, an hour to 90 minutes. Going to do a couple of breakdowns with people who want to join me. And the whole idea is for you to execute and go and generate clients in the marketplace. Now, I've been going live now for nearly 9 hours over the last 3 days, 9 hours. We've crafted a lot of training in these 9 hours. You've been part of a lot of training that I've been doing in these 9 hours. I'm actually in the middle of breaking up all those trainings, taking all of these little conversations that we have here, editing all that down, transcribing, and putting the work modules to all of those trainings in the thing. Now, if you want the training, all of those trainings, I'm happy to give you all those trainings for free, but it is conditional. So I want to know if you want the training. So if you want all the trainings, and I'll even throw the training in from yesterday. If you want these trainings, I just need to know here, yes or no, right? If you don't want the trainings, you don't want the recordings, you don't want the modules and all that sort of stuff I'm developing, that's fine. I want to thank you for being here, and you need to leave because you don't need to see what I'm talking about. It's not for you. So I just need to know if you're just lurking in the background, just say yes. On Facebook, I can see a few people here saying, yes, I'd like the training, right? So if you want all these trainings, right, because I would normally package all of this stuff up, right? And I'd probably be selling it. I'm probably going to be selling it for close to $2,000 because I'm going to put some additional pieces to this training. So if you want all of this training that I've just done in this last 3 days, and plus the training we're going to do tomorrow for free, I just need to know yes or no, right? I'm just going to take a quick sip and give you 30 seconds for those who respond. Keith said yes twice. Okay, just going to, I know, Howard, you want the training? Yes. Denise, yes. Okay, so, so we've got all of you hanging here. Some of you here are members of Agency Unleashed. A lot of you here are not members of a training that I do. But one of the things that I want to do is, you've spent some time with me here. At the end of the day, you want to apply this stuff. You want to, you're obviously interested in growing. You obviously want to make things happen for your business. You obviously want to do that. Otherwise, you would not be investing this amount of time listening to somebody like myself, right? I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been helping a lot of people, and some of the people here have gotten extraordinary results in working with me here along the way. So I am going to invite you, like I will give you all of this training, all this breakdown, but I'm going to invite some of you, right, to work with me between now and the end of January. Now and the end of January is what I'm looking for, right? What I mean by work with me is to actually have me coach you as part of a process to help you to scale, to structure your approach to go and get clients, to keep you accountable, to give you access to other resources that I have to be able to scale and grow your agency, right? That's what I want to do, right? If you're interested in working with me, I just kind of need to know, yes. I'll get to what the investment is and what sort of stuff. I'll explain all that in a moment. But if you're interested, if you're serious, even past members of Agency Unleashed, if you are interested in having some coaching or working with me, I just say yes. If it's a no for you, if you're not interested, I kind of like you to leave. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to leave this leave this call, right? If you're not interested in working with me, helping you to scale, to grow, to actually apply this, if that's not for you, I understand. I want to say thank you for being here, but I kind of would like you to leave if you're not interested, right? So I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I'm just going to have a bit of a drink of water while that happens. If anybody wants to leave, I truly understand. I've been talking for 3 hours. I'm losing my voice. All right. Okay. So here's the thing. Right? Before I go into also sharing, I know that we're in 3 different phases here. We've got 3 different people. We've got people who are kind of just starting out. We've got people who are freelancing. We've got people who are agency and who are scaling, right? We've got 3 different levels. With the people that are starting out, right? I want you to be very sure that this is the business you want to be in, because the whole key here is you've got to actually go and do these things that you say that you want to do and apply and learn and grow. And you want to speed up that process, because I want to try and help people to speed that process up. And if you're lurking or learning or you're not confident right now, then I would highly recommend that we can't work together. Right? You know, I've worked with a lot of people who just started out and I've helped them make a ton of money in the marketplace, and they do very well. But this is more about you than it is about my ability to be able to help you to be able to scale and grow. There's no point investing more time, energy, and effort if you're not actually going to action those ideas, go through the learning, get the feedback, and more importantly, get the result. Because to actually get clients really isn't that difficult. There's a couple of things we've got to get out of our minds to be able to do that. And I know how to do that. But the key here, the secret lies with you rather than with me, right? Because I can show you exactly where the clients are. I can show you exactly what to do. I can give you all the scripts. I can give you all the stuff. But you have to take the action. You have to trust yourself to say, hey, I want to make this happen. This is an opportunity. I want to go for it. Right? Because there's no point in buying programs or buying coaching if you're actually not going to implement action and get the result. There's just no point in doing that, right? So I just want you to be sure, those that are starting out, if you're going to hang with me, then great, we'll look at what that next step looks like. But I need you to be clear and sure. If you're freelancing, as a freelancer, you need to be thinking, I want to get out of doing the grunt work. As a freelancer, your consideration in moving your business forward, in growing your business, is you want to be not doing the fulfillment. You have to look at a way to step back from fulfillment, because it's the only way you're going to grow. And if you're a freelancer, the other thing that I want to share with you is that you want to be actually increasing your pricing structures. You want to start looking at scaling up your pricing to a better pricing model, because I would guarantee you as a freelancer, you're probably undercharging. So I want to just be clear with you that if you want to scale, that you're going to increase your pricing mindset, because I would rather you earn more and work less, right? Actually generate the right amount of revenue and earn less in the market. That's what I'd like to take into consideration. So if you're actually keen to look at a better pricing model, right? To actually look at ways of leveraging fulfillment so that you don't get caught in the weeds of being on a client. Now I've got to drop everything, I've got to fix everything up, right? Then what I'd like you to do is, your consideration is that you are going to look at an option of leverage. That means bringing your prices up and also getting a little bit more consistent about engaging the market and generating clients. So for those who are freelancers, if you are interested in doing that, right, and you want to do that, then I would make sure that you hang around for that. If you're not, if this isn't for you, I would say, please go. I can't help you, because at the end of the day, I can only help you if you want to take the next step and increase your revenue and get really focused on building this business and not get caught in the fulfillment side of things, right? And then the agencies, those who've got team, for me, the idea is to scale and step up. If you really want a milestone jump, then I want to work with you to do the milestone jump, right? So what I mean by a milestone jump is to probably aim for about another 20 to 30% revenue over the next 2 months. 20, 30% increase. So if you're sitting at the 10 grand mark, I probably want to take you to 20 grand in the next 6 weeks. If you're sitting at the 20 grand mark, I want to take you to the 40 grand mark. If you're sitting at the 50 grand mark, I want to take you to the 70, 80 grand mark, right? Over the next few months is where the goal and trajectory is, right? So wherever you are, right, if that's what you want to do, then I want to walk you through. Now, those who've already been Agency Unleashed members, my offer to you is the same offer, but it's based on time, and I'll explain that in a moment. Those who've never been Agency Unleashed members, I'm going to walk you through. By the way, Agency Unleashed members that do decide to take up the offer will get the recording. So all the trainings and that stuff, our team is editing, breaking them down into bite-sized modules, and you'll be able to access that. We will place that in your portal. For those of you who are interested in the program I'm about to share in terms of coaching with me, you will have access to a portal that I'll show you in a moment. I'll explain. But you will set a separate section that is going to include all the trainings that we have from these last 3 days and all the trainings for tomorrow. So I'm going to take you to a website. In fact, I'm going to share my screen because I'll walk you through. In the chat here, what I'm going to do, if you go to www.agencyunleashed.com, if you copy and paste that, you can go to that, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you where I'm taking it to. All right, so here's the thing. So remember, all of these topics and everything, if you decide to move forward, you will get all of these placed into your portal. So the last 9 hours plus tomorrow, I'm going to break them down. I'm going to transcribe them. You'll have modules to be able to break this training down, so you can actually apply and learn, and all the scripting, all that stuff's all in there. So at Agency Unleashed, this is the deal, right? We have a portal, and in that portal, and I'm going to walk you through what's in the portal in a moment. In that portal, we have resources, tools, trainings, systems, processes that you would use to be able to scale and grow your agency. Anywhere from generating clients to niche market selection to the sales process broken down, all the way through in this process, right? We have a portal and a resource section. In that portal, I'm going to place the training that we've done in the last 3 days if you decide to jump into this program, right? We also have a Facebook group, and in that Facebook group, it's a dynamic Facebook group. I'm going to show you a little bit what goes on in there, but there are also more tools and resources that I add to every single session that we do for training. We do training twice a week. It happens at 1 p.m. PST on Monday and 1 p.m. PST on Thursday. So there are 2 trainings. These 2 trainings are designed for accountability. We've actually restructured how we deliver our training. The Mondays are designed, right, to actually focus on the activity of commitment to generating the result. So whatever strategy, tactic I unpack, we focus on your sales process, your offer. We look at scripts, look at phones, we look at everything to maximize your opportunity. So on Mondays, we do unpacking and we set our intention to hit a result by Friday. On the Thursday, the second day, we do an assessment and we do a review and we do tactical strategies that I teach and share to grow. So there is more things that I have to share with you, right, in that process. So 2 days a week, you're with me, and it is live, it is fully recorded, and it is placed into the Facebook group. It's not placed into the portal, right? So I'll explain that in just a moment. So access to me twice a week. There is a third access point. We do a thing called, I have a program, it's a mastermind program, we have Consulting Champions. Once a week, I do a champions training. It happens on a Monday. You are invited to hang out with my champions on the champions training. In the champions training, we actually bring in some of the best people in the world to share skill sets, opportunities for generating clients, conversion, mindset, business strategy, the best AdWords people in the world, best Facebook people in the world. Come to train my champions, and you'll be able to visit that training for yourself. We run that training session once a week. So 3 times a week with me, you'll have access to me 3 times a week, right? So inside the portal, let me walk you through that. Just trying to move that out of the way. Let me walk you through the portal. So this is what the portal looks like inside. This is what you're getting in the Agency Unleashed program in the portal, and this is what you get direct access to, right? So we have what we call the training calls. You'll see all these calls here. There are several calls. There's more than, in actual fact, let me just go. There are several calls, right? There's more than 40 trainings, all live and actual in real time, talking about how you maximize revenue opportunities, right? These are live training calls that we do. They're in their set, everything to do with agency. And this is all new stuff. This is not stuff that's a year, 2 years old. This is all current trainings. Lead generation, client management, looking at ways of maximizing conversions, sales scripts, using appointment setters, copywriters, email marketers that you can actually hire to set appointments for you. All that training is in here, right? So there's all this training in this portal. There's a lot of it, right? We do live recordings. So these live recordings, there's more than 40 of them. These are more tactical things. So actually break down different tactics and strategies that you can use to go and generate clients and close deals. So these are the things that are in the tactical area, in the actual members area, right? Let me just bring this down a little bit, right? Sales process blueprint, this thing here. So we've got a few people who've gone through this a few times, but I actually break down from the initial part of engaging the market, targeting, getting the right problems that you can solve, how you actually engage the customer, how you pick the niche, the scripts and tactics to engage, setting the perfect strategy session, outsourcing the work, the sales process, and the pitch. I walk you through step by step. In fact, one of our Agency Unleashed guys here, John Odell, took these last 2 videos and generated 4 clients literally within a few weeks of doing this, right? So you get a structured approach to generating sales for your agency. We also have resources, blueprints, pitch decks. We have multi-million-dollar pitch decks that are closed deals, consultants, contracts, terms and conditions, questionnaires that I've used to extract all those information, the ideas that I shared in the last 2 days. Questionnaires are structured to extract the best that you can out of a client to help them to actually choose you through that process. We have what we call a profit builder. We have pitch decks. We also have in here, we have resource partners. So these are people who do fulfillment, Facebook, AdWords, SEO, omni retargeting. We also now are providing appointment setters, copywriters, email marketers. They are being provided in the Facebook group in the coaching section, right? So we are providing those sorts of resources so you can leverage your skills. You don't need to do the fulfillment. You can actually hire and fulfill it at a lesser cost and generate more profit. So all the resources, all the training, plus access to me 3 times a week, right? 3 times a week where I record. The last part of this is over here is the Facebook group. I need to go to the consulting. Look at the Facebook group. Helps if the internet works. Agency Unleashed. So I want to show you what happens in here. So this is a dynamic group. These are for the members who are going through the coaching. This is where you live. And over here, we have what we call units. I'm just going to hit the refresh button here. Now in units, we do things like, when the internet works. Okay, so here we go. So in units, so we have processes, fastest path to agency cash, authority pitch decks, right? Appointment setters, copywriters, social media managers in the unit section of the Facebook group. These are all dynamic. Project impact systems. So we have a process where you can actually structure your focus and your planning to actually work on getting the results. We have outcomes focused copywriting masterclass. I actually walk you through how to break down and run great copy for ad campaigns, how to run campaigns to generate clients for lead generation, email marketing campaigns, all that sort of stuff. I break that down into a masterclass, and that's fully recorded. We have a thing we call business by design, how you can actually design your agency the way that you'd like it to be, and then what are the processes to maximize your opportunity to generate those sales. We also have a unit on cold calling scripts. We have the triage script for how to do a triage call to qualify the client or disqualify the client. Then we have the sales script to qualify all those things that I talked about in making sure that we're eliminating objections. That's all scripted out. That's all available in the Facebook group. We have the thing that we call the Power 30. We talk about things like the things that are non-negotiables and the things that are a must-have. So we talk about a concept of being very pragmatic and very orientated towards getting results. In here as well, we also have a video section. So I'm just going to go into the videos section. More media, events, rooms, members, units. Sorry, let's just go back home. Where's the videos? I keep moving them around. In here, we've got more than 140 videos that are pre-recorded. Every time we do a training, we upload the video here in Agency Unleashed in the Facebook group. So This is the program entirety. Our goal, my goal, by January 30, those who join me, right, over the next few days, whether it be today or over the next few days, if you join me, right, my goal is to generate between 3 and 5 clients, 3 and 5 paying customers for you in this business to build a platform so you can leverage in a new year. I want to build momentum with a whole bunch of agencies where you're actually creating momentum on leads so that you're actually creating or crushing the new year. The reason why is because 2021, I think, is going to be massive. There's going to be a lot of demand for what we do. There's going to be a lot of people opening up from the lockdowns and from the distancing. And I believe that it is an opportunity for those people who want to scale in the marketing process. Now, I will get to the price point here. I know this is not, I don't know why it's not working. Right. So the investment in this program, it's $997 to join, $997 to join. Now, if you decide to join, I'm going to give you 2 months, right up until January 30, actually a little bit more than 2 months, up to January 30, to work with me to go through this process, get the coaching, and have access to this portal. It's $997, right? If you want to continue on, it's $297 a month after that. But what I'm going to do, it's $997 for 2 months to do this. You'll get access to the portal, the resources, the training, live access to me, right, to join the program. The next phone call is Monday, right? That's when we have the next call in the morning where we do strategy. And so it's $997 to get access to this training, to the coaching, to the materials. $297 a month. It's $3,600 for a year of staying in this community, right? But Agency Unleashed members who have been here before, it's only $997 for the next 2 months. So $997 gets you into, it's actually more than a little bit over 2 months. But if you want to join me, because right now we're looking at ways in which we can ramp up, and I'm bringing in experts as part of this training and coaching, getting access to some of the people that I have access to teach us how to leverage our opportunities as well. So that's the program. If you want the access to all the training I've done in the last 3 days, including the training I'm going to do tomorrow, if you join Agency Unleashed, I will give you those tools and resources. You'll have your own private section in the Agency Unleashed portal where you'll be able to access this program. So that's the deal. I'm going to stop sharing. If you've got questions, you can ask questions. Yeah, videos under media, absolutely, Rajesh. Members, Dano, you're a member. You're already a member. You're still got a couple of months with me, so you're already in there, mate. Yeah. Those members that have been, who have been, I've got quite a few people hanging out. If you've got questions, please ask, right? Otherwise, jump into agencyunleashed.com. You will get the training and the access. Members, those who have been members of Agency Unleashed who are here as part of this process, you will, if you join, I will give you access to the free materials as well. If you do take up the $997, you will get all the new trainings, the trainings that I've done, all the breakdowns. We are in the middle of transcribing all these today. We're going to be transcribing what I've done today. We're literally breaking down the sections from all the slides. You'll have transcriptions for those, and then the videos will be broken down into small slots, so they're more consumable. So Agency Unleashed members who are past members, who are here, who are hanging out, who obviously enjoy the training I provide. If you decide to join me again, just do the $997, and I will make sure you get those trainings in your portal. There'll be a separate section that'll be opened up just to you in this portal, right? So it'll be private. So those of you going to join me, that would be awesome. If you've got questions, please ask questions. By the way, I don't know what you mean by automation focused on marketing and systems integration. $997 to get access to the portal and the trainings that I've just done that I'll provide as free, right? But it's $297 a month. If you join for the $997, I'm going to give you 2 months coaching. After the 2 months, it's $297 a month thereafter if you want to continue on. Edward says it's the best program I've ever enrolled in, learned about. Without John's training, our agency growth wouldn't be where it is right now. Thank you, Edward. I really appreciate that. I am trying to help as many people as possible. By the way, this offer is only for 72 hours. On Monday, it goes down. On Monday, the offer will close. So you need to jump in now. If you want all that training for free that I provided, I'm more than happy to give you all the resources and materials. The idea is you join Agency Unleashed and you will have a private area that we'll upload those into. So if you're going to join me, then I would highly encourage you to just jump into agencyunleashed.com, www.agencyunleashed.com, and you'll get access to the portal straight away with all the other resources. Once you do that, it'll open up to you to putting in the Facebook group, and away we go. After the 2 months, $297 a month for coaching. If you join today, it will go up. We are increasing the monthly coaching price. By the way, we're getting people closing sales every week in the program right now, and we've had some people. We had Mark B, who closed a $12,500 strategy session. We had Rashida, who did $7,500. I know, Dano, you hit your goals last month before by applying some of the trainings. We got lots of people. We had Mike, who closed $36,000 deal. We had, who else was in there? Simon. Simon closed a $10,000 a month deal in Agency Unleashed. So we are getting some pretty good results for the members. So if you're going to join me, just go to www.agencyunleashed.com. Jump on in. Past members who have been with me, if you want access to materials and 2 months coaching, it's $997. If you want access to all these trainings that I put together and 2 months worth of coaching, $997. It's an absolute bargain. Highly recommend it. So Daniel Gow, if I had to start over from scratch today, knowing everything that I know, what niche would I focus on? This might sound really strange, Daniel, but retail is where I focus my efforts. Brick and mortar retail, especially those that do factory direct. That's the market that I would go for. Only because I know they've got money and I know that I can get bucket loads of customers for them. I can transfer them to an e-com model and they'd be home and hosed. So retail would be one. That would be one. My second choice would be SaaS. My second choice would be SaaS companies. SaaS companies are really scalable, easy to work with. That would be my second choice. First choice, retail. Second choice, SaaS. That's just me, my preference, where I know you can make big impact. So those who are joining, welcome, and thank you for those who are joining me. I appreciate you jumping on. We've got a few people jumping on. Thank you. Any questions?
John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to go into the mobile app space.
Yep.
So will we be able to will this model work for the same thing, or is it only for agency?
Absolutely. If you're doing mobile apps, absolutely, because you need clients to buy those mobile apps. So yeah, and mobile, by the way, right now is one of the biggest strategies in the market. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, any questions? I'm happy to answer questions. If you've got a strategy question I can answer. By the way, this is a pretty comprehensive program, right? There's a pretty comprehensive process to get started. I'm looking to try and help people by the end of January. So between now and the end of January, right, the idea is purely to gain momentum, purely gain momentum. So if you want to hang out with me for 2 months and get training, then I'd highly recommend. For the longest time, your Facebook group has not accepted my, I'm not sure why. Can you please check? I have 2 emails. Which Facebook group are you talking about, Edward? Are you talking about my Consulting Unleashed Facebook group, or are you talking about Agency Unleashed? Agency Unleashed is only for paying members, like as in you're a current paying member, you're in the coaching. Yeah, all the past members don't get access to the Facebook group. Yeah, you still got access to the portal. All the trainings are in the portal, all the videos are all in the portal for the time that you're a member of Agency Unleashed. But the paying members, the membership, is the monthly coaching. The only people in the Agency Unleashed Facebook group are people who are currently paying for the membership. So that's why you can't access Agency Unleashed. You can access your portal, but not the actual Facebook group. Yeah. So Facebook group is for members. The reason why in the Facebook group is where we do all the strategy stuff. We put a lot of the current trainings in there. We have the unit section. So we've actually expanded the tools and resources in the Facebook group. Plus, we have a whole new accountability system working in the training as well, which has been pretty good. We've seen a lot of people actually speed up their results in the group, which has been awesome. So that's fantastic. So yeah, lots of people getting results. So happy to answer your questions. By the way, it's pretty comprehensive training. A lot of people out there for this sort of stuff are charging 10, 12, 15 grand. I'm just trying to get people focused and give people the resources they need to make that happen. So Edward, you're more than welcome to jump back in. As I said, on the page there, you'll also get access to these trainings as well. I'm more than happy to have you on board. Any questions? Thank you. I've got a few people jumping in, which is good. Nope, I'm just sitting here. If you've got a question, just type in. My LinkedIn profile has me as a badass in my past life. I'm starting over with marketing. Do you have any advice on how to transition to totally redesign myself? Sorry, this is a totally unrelated question. Denise, of course you can. Of course, you want to let people know what you do. You can start making those adjustments accordingly to your business. Absolutely. So yeah, you can rebrand. You can start. I've got people who are brand new who literally got their first clients this week. I just started a week. I literally started a week ago, and they got their first client straight away. So yeah, you can. You can get clients that quickly. We've seen people get clients within 48 hours. We've had one person who literally woke up when they watched the video 5, video 6 of the blueprint training. Went out and got 4 clients doing that. So yes, so if you're going to join me, then I'd highly recommend that you go to consultingunleashed.com, sorry, agencyunleashed.com, agencyunleashed.com. Happy to take any questions. If you've got a question, let me answer those questions. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you. There's a whole bunch of people hanging around here. I'm only assuming that you want to join. If you do want to join and you've got questions, let me know. Facebook ads, Daniel, Facebook ads. I do Facebook and AdWords, YouTube and retargeting. If I was going to do if I was going to get nuts and bolts into it, Facebook would be my number one. And I would probably prefer Instagram ads for that sort of stuff, and YouTube. And, I do some GDN stuff as well. Yeah. The average client that I'll be looking for in the market would probably be spending at least 10 grand a month in management fees with me. I'd need a budget of about $30,000 a month is what I'm looking for. So yeah, if that's the market I was going after, so what I'm looking at 40 grand a month. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so that's where the market is. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope this has been very useful and helpful to you. Look forward to seeing you in Agency Unleashed. For those who are going to be joining me in Agency Unleashed, I highly recommend that you jump in because you will never ever see this type of investment for this type of training ever again. With that, I want to thank you. For those who want to join me tomorrow, 5 p.m. PST, I'm going to go and do a breakdown. So the idea is to actually go after clients very quickly, what I would do to engage clients super fast and help them on board. So I'm going to literally go and do that breakdown tomorrow. I will add that as a bonus to the training. So for those of you who are joining me, you're going to get all these trainings that I've done over these last 3 days, plus the extra one that I'm going to do tomorrow. That is going to be added to the portal if you decide to join. Like I said, we're going to be transcribing. We're cutting up the videos as we speak. We're going to be transcribing those videos, and more importantly, we will make sure that they're in bite-sized chunks. They'll be in a separate section placed in the portal for you. It's probably going to take us about a week or so to get all that done. But there's tons of resources and training for you to go through that are going to help you to generate those clients. Miles, love to see you in the program. Carl Nelson, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate that. Sheila, I really appreciate you hanging out with me for all these days. Avery, nice to have you. Joe, good to see you. Denise, Edward, Max, Mark, Rajesh, as always. Christine, nice to see your face. Daniel Gow, as always, the legend. Edward, good to have you. Bill, nice to have you here. I really appreciate all you hanging out. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's training, if you're going to hang with me. If you are joining Agency Unleashed, I would highly recommend you do that. Past members, if you want to jump into the coaching and still get access to all these trainings, just do the $9.97 and you'll get access to the coaching, the Facebook group, and all the other units that we have to help you as well. So with that, super looking forward to helping as many of you as possible to scale. With that, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you same time, same bat channel tomorrow. Take care, everybody.